What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Royal Dude Lorenzo, and we are back with yet another banger of an episode. I am the Blue Squid here on the Inkling Brothers podcast. All right, I'm switching it over. I'm switching it over to the next dude.
Stop talking like that.
Hey guys, my name is Ray, also known as Meal of Men. I'm the Purple Squid here on the Inkling Bros podcast.
Yo, my name is Isaac, aka the Red Squid of the podcast, also known as Simp Isaac.
And I'm Eric.
And we also have lovely Craig is back this week. Welcome back, Craig.
Hello, listeners.
Craig is back, thankfully, and so we won't have to deal. Yeah, hopefully we won't have to deal with BS this time. I should probably start OBS just in case, right?
Probably should. If anything, we'll at least have the first few minutes of this.
Yeah,
Craig hits himself.
I really hope that everything will be working.
You really
Yes, I hope. All right, just started the recording on OBS. Just
cool.
So the people on welcome to all the people on OBS. If you're hearing this version of the recording, that
we're
means...
not doing intros.
We're not redoing intros, but you guys just already know who we are. But if you are hearing this version of the recording, that means that
somehow the first few minutes weren't recovered.
Unfortunately, this is how we are recording the podcast this time.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it. All right. So back to the world that is currently on fire. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Nice.
How about you?
I'm alive.
Terrible.
Oh my god.
Because to come in here, you know how long I've been waiting for? 3 days. Damn right. We should go to Amazon and fucking
BX12.
Oh my god.
Yo, let's loot Amazon. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a lot of shit to loot, dude.
Hey, you know what? I wouldn't be opposed. Anyways, how about you, Eric? How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Terrible.
So what you guys
what
have you guys been up to in the last 2 weeks? A lot of stuff has happened, but I just want to know. I'm just catching up.
Watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And also building my new deck for our eventual duel when we get out of quarantine.
What's quarantine?
What's quarantine? I mean, we're in phase 2. Phase 1. We're about to be phase 2 on Monday. But I feel that, Ray. Some people are still quarantining.
Yeah. Still gonna be quarantined for at least another week or so. Thankfully. But yeah. How about you, Eric? What have you been up to?
Working and doing some stuff. I watched all the Harry Potter movies because I was mooshing off of Lawrence's HBO Max account, and that's like the big thing that they're advertising, or at least one of the big things.
You can mooch off of people's accounts.
Yeah, and I never actually saw all the Harry Potter movies when I was a kid and stuff. So I figured, why not? I'll just watch all of them. I didn't watch any of Fantastic Beasts because that looks lame as shit. So I'm not watching that.
Boring.
But it's funny. I never even knew the second movie came out. That's how little
Me too. Me too. I had no idea when that shit came out. I'm like, yo, this shit is a thing.
Yeah, like I knew about the first one because it was sort of relatively exciting. It's like, oh, it's another Harry Potter movie in a way, like it's in the same universe. But then I heard that there was gonna be 5 movies for Fantastic Beasts, and I'm like, all right, that's really pushing it because the book that it's based on is not even like a story-driven book.
It's a guide. It's a guide.
I never read it, but apparently, it's like what Lauren says. It's a guide.
Oh, I read through the entire thing at a Barnes & Noble's when they re-released it back in 2009. So, fun fact, it actually came out in 2001.
2001?
Yeah, the original book was published in 2001.
So, it came out the year that the first Harry Potter movie came out.
Yeah. I think people were like confused. Well, because I think by then they already had 4 books already, 5 books.
Are you sure it came out in 2001?
Yeah, look it up.
I'm gonna look it up right now. If
I
you're
found this
lying,
out.
I'm gonna call you out.
Wiki.
I found this out, and I was like, "Holy shit! Really? 2001? Like, I was
2001.
I was very surprised because I was
Wow,
like,
you're right. Yeah, 2001.
Yeah, because I vaguely remember, right after Deathly Hallows came out, they re-released the book in 2009 or 2008. I don't remember. But yeah, and I was like, wow, look, they have a new Harry Potter book. And then I sat in Barnes and Nobles and read it for an entire hour, finished it, and it was just literally a guide about all the creatures in Harry Potter. So me thinking, shit, just like a couple weeks ago, I told you guys I watched the first Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I'm not watching it.
It was weird. Like, I don't get it. I actually don't.
Yeah?
How do we get a story out of this book?
Yeah,
Where did the story come from?
I don't understand it. I've never read it, because I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even know that book was a thing. Like, I'm shocked right now to find out it came out in 2001. Like, back when the Harry Potter films actually started. That is wild to me. I thought it came out, like, in the mid-2010s or something.
Do you guys hear that? I'm sorry. Like
Yeah, what is that?
It's our box for the episode.
So just to let you guys know, as of recently in New York City,
Is that a gun?
No, those are fireworks.
Are those really fireworks?
That is the meme currently going around in New York City, but it always has been around 4th of July time. People love to talk about, like, they can't tell whether or not it was fireworks or somebody just got shot 30 times. So
That's pretty much how it is, yeah.
If you guys just heard that, yes, those are fireworks. They were not gunshots.
To be clear.
Oh, just as you were talking about the fireworks, a firework just went off outside my.
I get
you know what? That means
get so scared.
That means it's gonna go off of my place next.
I get so scared about these things. It's like, I don't know. It's
they wake
weird.
me up sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It happens at like 3 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah, 3, 4 in the morning.
Like, I have no problem. I do fireworks when I'm in.
It's not even July yet.
Yeah.
Why this early?
See, I do fireworks when I'm like down in Florida because it's legal there. It's for anyone that doesn't know.
New York think every day is 4th of July.
Yo, you remember the picture I posted with the calendar, right? It's not July anymore.
Yeah. It's not. It's August.
Jesus, that was so loud.
Yeah. So
You will not divide us.
You will not divide us. But see, my thing is, it's like I do fireworks a lot, but, like it's when I'm not
it's
around.
Still going outside.
But
Oh my God.
in Florida, it's legal, so it's like, yeah, fine, do it.
Jeez.
But I get so scared, especially when they're like tall, rising buildings. They could fucking go into like break a window and like cause fire, because we seem to forget these are
It really does sound like
these
a
are
fucking
pyrotechnics.
gunshot in the background. My God.
I am so sorry to the people in our dozen of audience that think that I sound like an old boomer firework person. But I don't know about you. I don't want any of my stuff burning down. I don't want to break a window because somebody decided they wanted to get their, get off by like lighting a firecracker. So just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, there it
is. Yeah, just for those wondering, the audience, I just posted the calendar of July 2018. Every day is stopped. July 4th is listed as fireworks are acceptable. You may proceed. And then the week of August it's August. What the fuck are you doing?
I like that this is for 2018 July.
Yeah, that was a joke. I remember this.
But it's still applicable every year, so.
Yeah. We always bring back that meme. That's the funny meme to bring back every year during July 4th. But yeah, to go back to the Fantastic Beasts thing, I fucking hate it. I don't know. So I started watching the second one, and then I just immediately turned it off like 10 minutes in because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Oh, look, it's Johnny Depp.
Wait, is he really in that?
Yeah, he plays Grindelwald.
Really? I'm looking this up.
Which, by the way, if you watch the entire Harry Potter series, Grindelwald actually plays a tiny part, I guess, in the sixth movie or seventh. No, he plays it in Deathly Hallows 1.
Is he in the second one?
Which one? He's also in the first one, but I think he's uncredited.
Oh, okay. Yep. There you go. Yep. Oh no, it looks like he's only in the second one.
He's at the end of the first one. Sorry, that's a spoiler, but it's not like anyone really cares. He's at the end of the first one.
Spoiler. Like,
yeah, no, he's at the end of the first one. He's a shapeshifter, so it ends up he's like shapeshifting like person from the Ministry, and he's actually evil. Yada yada yada. And this is a prequel, so it takes place before the Harry Potter series, and Dumbledore is in the second movie. So, wow.
What? Are you reacting to the firework outside?
Yeah, I heard that, and I'm like, my God.
They're like, no, Lawrence, I disagree. I think Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a fantastic movie.
Yeah. No, you want to know how I found out there was a second movie? I found out because when I met David Harbour a couple years ago,
my God.
His girlfriend stars in Fantastic Beasts. Like
really?
Yeah. And the only reason I found out was because while everybody was busy licking David Harbour's abs on the other side of the room, his girlfriend was on the
ass or abs.
Both. So when David Harbour was on one side of the room and everybody was worshiping him, his girlfriend was in the other side of the room, and there was nobody really talking to her except for a few Harry Potter fans, right? And they were all talking to her about Fantastic Beasts, and nobody realized this until they both left, and then they found out, holy shit, wait, his girlfriend is from Fantastic Beasts. And then we looked it up, and we were like, holy shit, a movie's coming out this year.
Yeah, wow, that's funny, because I heard that, like, the first movie came out. Oh, my God. I heard that, like, the first movie came out, and I heard the news that it's supposed to be like a 5-film franchise, and I'm like, that's absurd, because that book, even though I didn't read it, I know that it's not story-driven at all, so how the hell are they going to stretch that into 5 movies? I thought The Hobbit was bad, but that's nothing compared to this. And I never saw the first one because I just wasn't interested, and I'm not going to, and like I said earlier, I didn't even know the second one came out. And it came out in 2018, like, it's been 2 years. In my head, I was like, man, when's that second movie coming out? Because I do know it's supposed to be 5. And then someone told me, it's like, it's been out, bro. I'm like, nah. Stop lying.
Stop lying.
And then I look it up, and it's like, oh, yeah, wow, it actually did come out. It's just that, no one talked about it, really.
Yeah. And something that was funny was that when people were interacting with David Harbour, like, we all, after they had left, we realized, wait, holy shit. She's more famous than him, and and everybody was over here like, David Harbour, I love you. And then it's like his girlfriend has actually like done more. So it was just kind of funny.
Who's his girlfriend?
I'm gonna get you the exact name. See, I don't even remember it now, but yeah, they around that time he was what, season 3 hadn't come out yet of Stranger Things. So I couldn't tell you about that at that time. Shoot.
You know what else? Speaking of 2001, you know what else happened in 2001?
What?
Shrek the movie came out.
Oh wait, really?
Oh yeah, that's true. Shrek came out in 2001.
Oh yep. Yeah. Lily Allen. There we
people went to go see it, even though 9/11 happened.
Did it come out after 9/11?
I think it did.
Let me see.
When did it come out?
Shrek. The first one came out May 18, 2001. So no, it came out before.
Can you imagine a world where Shrek came out after 9/11? Like, that would have changed the box office, like, income takeaway, like, so much that I think, like,
maybe
it would not have been as big.
I feel like people would have at least gone to see it to, like, you know, distract themselves from the shit that was going on at the time.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
They would have. I just feel like, yeah.
I know. This has nothing to do with, like, you know, the box office or anything, but, you know, funny coincidence that I found out about, I think Yu-Gi-Oh premiered, like the very first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh in America, it premiered like at the end of September of that year.
Of 2001?
Of 2001, so that came out like sometime after 9/11. I don't know if it was supposed to come out that week, but I know the first episode aired the last week of September.
Yeah.
Damn, like the OG one where he duels Kaiba?
Where he duels Kaiba and he summons Exodia.
Wow.
Update, so they're not dating anymore, but he dated...
Kaiba and Yugi?
No, David Harbour and his
Exodia.
ex.
So they're not dating anymore.
Her name is Alison Sudol, and she played Queenie in the Fantastic Beasts, which is a sister of the lead and girl in that. She's pretty like big in the movies. So she was in both of the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's her name again?
Alison Sudol. He's currently dating Lily Allen. So he's there. There's an article that's like David Harbour has a surprisingly famous list of girlfriends.
Okay.
Surprising
too.
Yeah, surprising. He's a good-looking man. What do you like? What?
That's like totally saying this guy is a man whore.
This guy has girlfriends.
This guy is an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that Isaac mentioned the whole like box office thing and whether or not Shrek would have been affected if it came out after 9/11. Because in regards to that second Fantastic Beasts movie, apparently it didn't do so hot, so the third one got delayed, like 3 years or so. Like, yeah, it's still not out yet, apparently.
Damn.
How bad are we talking?
I
He
mean,
said 3 years.
well, because like it came out in 2018,
Oh,
and I
the
think it was
box
supposed to
office,
come. Well, yeah, so like that second movie came out in 2018, and I'm pretty sure the movies were supposed to be like yearly, or at least every year or two. But
Oh,
the
so they're
third
gonna
one,
pull a
they're
Star
like,
Wars.
the third one they postponed it until like 2021. So it's like, damn, all right.
And I'm gonna assume the pandemic had something to do with that too, right? Probably.
Maybe. So okay, it didn't like bomb, but it did significantly less than they thought it would.
Yeah, because they were thinking that Harry Potter nerds were gonna come out for like they did for the first one. Which
More or less.
Yeah, I mean the first one wasn't even also all that like. It didn't make as much as like the Deathly Hallow movies, right? Of course not.
Deathly Hallows Part 1 made
One of those
more.
were like,
Yep. Oh god. Okay.
yeah,
And
it
Part
broke
2
the
made
record.
much more. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they broke box office records.
Yeah,
because
Fantastic Beasts ain't doing so hot so far.
How much are we
The first one
talking?
was a
Like?
success,
They ain't
the
doing
second
so
one not so much.
fantastic.
The first one was relatively a success. The second one, not so much. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that says anything, I mean, like the Harry Potter franchise kind of just kept going up in terms of like box office in general. I think there might.
I
have been a
low
few
key
movies
think
going
another reason Fantastic Beasts even came out is to give David Yates more work.
on.
Because that dude,
did David Yates do that?
yeah, he's the one the guy who directed the last
Three.
4 Harry Potter
Three.
movies.
Oh, well, you're talking about the sequel too. Okay, yeah, 4.
Yeah, he's the one that's directing all 5 Fantastic Beasts movies. And it's funny because that dude's resume is basically 90% Harry Potter at this point. It's like he can't get work unless it's Harry Potter. It's hilarious.
I mean, yeah, it's true. I think now it's weird because I mean. It's weird because Fantastic Beasts is supposedly supposed to have like a lighter tone, but David Yates is like more of like he did more of the darker Harry Potter stuff. So, but I mean, not to say you can't see that there are the darker elements in Fantastic Beasts. Like even in the first one, there's still like quite a bit of darkness. Second one, probably more darkness than the first. But like there's still a lighter tone because obviously the whole fucking like movie is about like these creatures that that Newt's commander like is like collects, you know, and studies. Wow, I guess I paid a little more attention to that movie than I thought I did. Yeah, God, that I want to forget that movie. I honestly do. Yeah, literally the when I watched the first 10 minutes of it, hey, look, we have Johnny Depp. Look, it's Johnny Depp. Look, it's Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, and here's these other guys, by the way. Johnny Depp. It's literally what the entire like second movie is. Just kind of starts out to be. It's so funny.
He just plays every character. Yeah,
I mean, well, if we go off of that logic, Ray, I mean, he's a shapeshifter. He probably could play every character if he wanted. Not saying, yeah. Also, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird series. I don't know if I'm going to even. I don't think I'm going to finish it up, but it's like one of those series you got to hit it and quit it, you know.
Right.
I don't know if that's the right term to use. But yeah, I think, you know, in terms of, you guys were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! What were you guys talking about?
Oh, we were talking about in September of 2001, towards the end of the month. That's when the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Premiered, just like a few weeks after the 9/11 incident. And I brought that up because of Isaac mentioning that Shrek also came out around 2001.
Okay, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! I just remember like somehow I watched.
Do you remember the episode itself, or do you remember watching it? Like,
I mean, of course I remember the episode. Because
you don't remember watching it when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly. I watched, I think, somewhere in the middle of Duelist Kingdom, probably when it was airing on Cartoon Network. That was, I think, when I started like. It did air on Cartoon Network, right?
Eventually, it did. Like, I know they started airing some of the Battle City stuff on there, particularly when they got to the finals. And
So I think I might have actually caught some of the Kids WB stuff. Though.
Yeah. I know Kids WB like aired the majority of it. Like, I know they aired the Waking the Dragon stuff in the final season, but when it came to GX, Cartoon Network aired like the 3 seasons that they dubbed on their network.
Yeah, I don't really remember my earliest Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime memory.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't remember my first episode either, but I do remember
I'm back.
Hey, what's up? I do remember. We're talking basically our first memory of Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether it's the anime or card game. We're not doing a retrospective right now, but it's just a topic that just came up from conversation. But I was gonna say that I remember getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! When I think one time my sister bought like a pack of like a starter deck for like her friend or something like that to give as a gift for for class, because I think they were doing like a gift exchange. And I thought that was cool. I was like, yo, what is that? And so later on I learned what it was, and I remember even seeing the commercials like for the you guys remember that Duel Arena playset that they had with the Yugi and Kaiba figures, and you could put the monsters in the middle of the arena.
Yeah.
And it was based on like the first episode design. And how every time the commercial started, it would be like, it's time. I remember that. And in terms of the card game, I think eventually I got a starter deck from Modell's, I think, in the neighborhood.
From the sporting goods?
Yeah. I remember seeing the Merrick Ishtar starter deck from there.
Yeah,
oh god, that must have been an awful starter deck.
Eric, believe it or not, they actually used to sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards for a time, like both structure decks and like those crappy booster pack bundles that you would see. And because because they also sold baseball sporting good cards and all that, so like it was, I guess, part of categorized alongside with that. Oh, the trading card section. But eventually those are all phased out and you don't really see Yu-Gi-Oh cards in Modell's anymore. Whatchamacallit. So yeah, and then after that I got the game on the world, you remember the World Championship series on Game Boy Advance? I got those, and that's when, my first Yu-Gi-Oh video game, I got the 2004 one on Game Boy Advance, which I think was actually the first entry in that series. But that was how I got into it at first. Like, those are my earliest memories.
I don't remember.
I wish I could remember my episode though, my first one.
Yeah, I don't really remember my first episode.
I remember watching Duelist Kingdom a lot when it was airing.
I think it was definitely Duelist Kingdom, but like when I really started watching it, it definitely was like Battle City was like I was watching it like almost weekly.
Right. I remember one of my first episodes was the Mako Tsunami one in Duelist Kingdom.
Yeah. Oh my god. Mako Tsunami! And then I think it was my first episode ever, and that's why I got it on VHS. That must have been why. Was the episode where Kaiba almost jumps off the cliff.
Oh, the cliff.
Where he almost commits suicide.
Where he cheats to win to get to Mokuba.
Yeah, his only legit win against Yugi was by cheating.
See, the weird thing, like, you know, we won't tread on Yu-Gi-Oh! Too long because we're saving it, obviously, but the thing with that episode that I found out, because I'm watching the series currently in the Japanese version, so the English version has it where I think if Yugi attacks Kaiba while he's on the edge of that castle cliffside, the impact, like the force of like Celtic Guardian destroying the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon would push Kaiba off of the edge and would kill him. But in the Japanese version, the way it is, because obviously it's explained that early on that the holograms are supposed to face through people. So it was explained that Kaiba would have taken a few steps back for every bit of life points he lost. He was literally like, let's play a game, Yugi. For every increment
he
went all Jigsaw. He went all Jigsaw.
Oh my god.
Yugi.
For every increment
I'll get a duelist disc.
For every increment of 100 life points that I lose, I will take like a step back. I lose 500 life points, so I take 5 steps back.
Yeah.
So he was on the castle edge at that point.
And that was the original dual disc, right? The circular thing that
the yo-yo
the frisbee
Yeah, that
right?
was the Beyblade dual disc, as I like to call it.
It may as
like,
well have been.
Go dual disc!
Turk Magician, return!
It's like Pokemon. Like,
They were training.
Pikachu, return!
4 kids was training their actors.
Oh my god.
Dude, that would work, to be honest. Like a Saw movie, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Like that shit would actually be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, in a way,
you mean
basically
Arcana?
no.
Yeah, like the Arcana duel where the fucking buzzsaws will cut you off the closer you lose life points to 0.
Well, that's a good example. I was also gonna say like the early arcs before Duel Monsters became the focus of the manga, and like the first Toei anime.
Oh
that's
yeah,
basically like Saw, right?
Every chapter of the manga and of the Toei anime was basically a different game of like either an actual game or like a game of death or wits.
Yeah, Mokuba and Kaiba were evil. Actually evil.
Yeah, they were fucking nuts in the original
Actually,
manga.
like want people to die evil. I remember. I forget who was. I think it was Billiam that I was watching. He was talking about. About season 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how like they're completely different from what we get and like those characters all literally want death to the other people.
They
Yugi's
fucking
friends.
want Yugi wiped from existence.
Yeah, like imagine. Oh my god.
Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japanese is a completely different fucking beast. In that context, especially in the manga.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
It's not pussified.
But I do recommend like it. If you don't mind, like passing it for like nostalgia's sake. Because I mean, we had some good memories with the 4Kids stuff, obviously, but I do recommend watching the sub version on Crunchyroll whenever our viewers can, because it's really good. So.
Yeah, eventually I'm also gonna go back and do that, but.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just trying to get
motherfucker watched 224 episodes, and he's gonna watch another 224.
224.
It's the exact same show. It's not the exact same show, but it's like more or less the same show.
More or less
but
the same
in a
show.
different language.
Yeah.
Different language, different tone.
I am almost through GX right now. I'm up to the Crystal Beast era.
Are you gonna do
Crystal
5Ds?
Beast arc? I don't think that's what the name of the arc is, but yeah.
It's funny because I remember, actually, I used to run Crystal Beast in my original deck, and that's why I'm like, wait, so this is where they came from. Like, I totally forgot they were Jesse Anderson's cards. That's so cool.
See, I didn't follow the later arcs of GX, but I remember
Yeah, me
seeing
too.
those episodes when they came on. Like at certain points, I was like, "Oh shoot, look, it's that one Crystal Beast card that looks like an Espeon."
Yeah, the exact one I used to run in my deck too. I remember also Jesse Anderson had like those trainer packs. You know, the 5-pack of
Yeah,
cards based on
that you would see with the
particular
characters. Yeah,
I only wanted the Jaden ones because obviously I was trying to build my
the Elemental Heroes. Yeah.
And so, but you know, eventually, like every time you bought a Jaden pack, they came only with masked heroes and like the Destiny Heroes stuff was with the Aster Phoenix deck packs too. So like, surprisingly, I have it also just as many D heroes as I have E heroes. So it's like really weird. But I'm going through it. I'm almost, I'm like maybe 10 episodes into season 3 so far.
Okay, so you're almost there, basically.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to start focusing my eyes more on what's going on when I watch
season 4.
Season 4.
In the Japanese version.
Yeah.
That's gonna be confusing if something in continuity comes up that wasn't explained in the English version, but in the Japanese version, they talk about like, oh yeah, a few episodes ago we did this, and then Lawrence is gonna be like, wait, what are you guys talking about?
Like, wait,
What?
Aster's dad is dead?
Yo, that's the funniest shit ever. Like, I know we should probably go to a different topic just to save some of this for the retrospective, but the fact that 4Kids always has to censor almost any trace of death in the show, like, oh no, Mako Tsunami's dad is just lost at sea and we haven't found him yet, or Aster Phoenix's dad is just in the hospital, or there's one kid that got fucking tortured to death in 5Ds, this is a real thing, is actually still alive somewhere, even though we don't see him ever again in the English version.
Fuck.
Merrick's dad is actually alive. He was just in the Shadow Realm in the English dub.
Not to mention,
Fuck.
Zane goes all fucking...
Oh my god.
Zane becomes all sadistic all of a sudden.
Fuck.
So yeah, enough about Yu-Gi-Oh! We'll save that for the retrospective. It's coming soon, guys. Don't worry.
Coming soon.
We're getting there.
There's a reason we keep talking about it a lot in this season.
Yeah, it's the time. Time is now.
The time.
I have a little bit of an update for everybody. Something.
Lawrence is gay. He's coming out.
Oh my god!
Happy Pride.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Dicks in the comments, please. Dicks out for Lawrence.
Oh my god! So,
Bro.
So something that Isaac talked about last week, but also like we also talked about it privately as individuals. But AMC is not dead.
Thankfully, we can
Although
remove the tombstone.
they probably deserve to die after their initial.
Put AMC in a fucking commercial selling Mighty Putty, and he's like, "But wait, I'm not done yet."
I thought you were gonna say, "But wait, I'm not dead yet."
I'm not dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have Mighty Putty. It's supposed to keep the virus out.
I wish.
So, yeah, AMC says they're opening up their theaters this week in all across the nation, except for obviously in places where they're not allowed to open, like New York. Because theaters are in phase 4, and most of New York, I think, like very few counties are in phase 3 right now, and most of them are in phase 2, or thankfully no more phase 1 as of this week is over. So I mean, I could see theaters opening up by July, August, but the thing is, like, there was a survey that said that most people probably won't be going back to like watching movies and stuff like that for at least 3 to 12 months after like things kind of return to normal. Like a lot of people are just now starting to, like, whenever they order packages, kind of like ease up a little bit on like trying to open their packages. I still like leave my packages out on the door.
Or if you order from Amazon like me, you don't get your fucking package.
Like I still leave all my packages for like at least 24 hours before I open them. Just because I want to be safe. Even though
they're gloves.
Huh?
Bro, why don't you just use gloves?
I'm not. I don't want to. I'd rather there would be zero virus. You know, because they said it's possible, but like there's a lot of stuff saying that it's like not as likely. I don't want to open my package with a glove. I'd rather that, like they said, just like leave it out for like 24 hours, and if there is any contaminants on it, then it would have already been dead by then. So I like to leave my stuff out for quite a bit. You know, there are lots of things that like, especially like even just like going out for like just to walk or something like that. Some people are just now starting to like, you know, do that. And so like I would imagine, people said that like they probably won't be traveling on a plane for at least a year unless it's absolutely necessary. And people won't be going to movie theaters for at least the next 3 to 12 months.
Meanwhile, in the South, drive-in movies are back.
Yeah. Is that actually true?
Yeah. Drive-in movies became a thing like way back in April when like states like Arkansas and Missouri stopped their quarantine and shit. So yeah, movie theaters were closed and they were almost gonna die. Like I remember when we talked about it last time. We're like, does it look like movies are gonna die? Like theaters are gonna die, and is it a wrap for Hollywood? But I guess they're not done yet. Like Mighty Putty with Billy Mays.
They're not done yet.
I'm just wondering, like, so like it's definitely gonna be weird going back to movie theaters. Like, they're gonna.
Do you guys want to go when they open up in New York?
I'm down.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to like think what movie we'd see, but
yeah, that's true. We'd have to see what the hell is even out at this point.
Yeah, it better. We should see a movie. We should see a movie that's actually going to be worth going through the trouble of going over there. So.
Yeah, I mean,
it's to die for. I'm not going for that shit.
Yeah, we're all going to be wearing masks, so that's going to be different.
Are we going to be sitting like an empty seat in between everyone?
Nah, come on, man.
What do you mean, come on?
No, I'm kidding.
But going back to like,
I don't know what I mean, maybe. Like if it is the Regal, like with those like nice reclining chairs, I don't think we would need to really do all that much space because I think there's enough space between us. But if it's like the AMC where literally we're sardines, probably.
A can of sardines theater.
I'm more worried about the train ride to the movie theater than the theater.
Yeah, I'd say.
Oh god, that's also true. Let's just walk to the theater then.
Let's walk all the way from the Bronx to 42nd Street.
Yeah.
Let's do a walking podcast to the fucking theater.
We could go to Bay Plaza though, because I know bus service is free at least for the BX12, so we could just go over there.
It really did look like it was going to be a wrap. Like, sorry to tangent back to that, but like, I remember like thinking to myself, like, damn, like no one is going to the movies, and if they are, it's definitely limited. And it just looked like shit was a wrap for Hollywood because they've never been out of work. I remember I brought it up in the Ramen Pack podcast how a buddy of mine in LA got laid off. He used to work in film. Now he's had to completely 180 and try to work like in tech as a freelance web developer. Like it really is that bad for people in film and entertainment.
Yeah,
the industry is dead right now. The last movie, I was walking from like the deli the other day and I saw a cab with a movie poster that came out in March. It was like some movie with fucking, I don't even remember the name, but it had a Batista on it.
Oh, it was like a babysitting movie, right?
It was a babysitting movie, yeah. It was like a Batista movie, and the shit said coming March 13th.
That's how you fucking know.
Last words. Famous last words.
I forgot the name, but it was.
It looked like it was gonna die because, like, did you guys see any trailers like after March for any new movies? I didn't.
No, because most of the films were like delayed.
They were on demand for Scoob, I know, and only 2 movies: Scoob and Trolls 2.
Trolls 3.
Yeah. Trolls 3. Damn,
that was the third one.
I think so.
Are you sure?
Maybe it was Trolls too. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of this, but
I'm not into the Trolls universe, so
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Troll cinematic universe either. But like, I think it was Trolls too. Either way,
cinematic universe.
Either way,
one movie that I was really looking forward to was In the Heights. It was supposed to be released next week, by the way, but they delayed it all the way to next year, June of next year.
Yeah, I remember I had that same reaction when they delayed James Bond. Was it James Bond?
Yeah.
Delayed to November.
That was another moment when like we all kind of realized, wait a minute, things are not as they're supposed to be, right? And then the NBA got canceled the week after, and that was the moment. Holy shit! Wait, guys, hold on, slow down. Wait, what's going on? And then the day after, we're closing down New York.
I'm sorry, Earth is closed today. You guys gotta pack it up and get out of here.
Fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here.
Oh my god. It's like a very New York class. Like, get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out. Yeah, so, you know, I'm still gonna go like see it next year because I'm like, this is a film that I'm still like have always been excited to go see. I remember when I was in high school and I was banking on it to come out when Hamilton was just an idea and not a Broadway show yet. And I was like, yo, I can't wait for the In the Heights movie. And even I remember your mom, Ray, sent me a casting call for it one time. Recently. And so like sometime last year or the year before, but I was like, yo, that's so fire. And so like because it's like it's delayed, it's like that really
that's not fire.
Yeah, it really shows how things have changed, but also at the same time you gotta respect Lin-Manuel Miranda is like, yeah, we're gonna we're just, I want a full audience, right? I want everybody everybody who wanted to see this film, and if they were willing to wait like 6 years for the film in the first place, then they can wait another year as long as everyone is there at once,
That's fair.
And I don't blame them. It's, I'm looking forward to it still. And also like Lin-Manuel is just like, fun fact, the movie was supposed to be produced by the Weinstein Company, and then, after everything that happened,
what happened? No, I'm kidding.
The guy that did Crazy Rich Asians.
Wakes up from a coma like 3 years. What happened?
What happened? So the guy who did
documentary on Dan Schneider.
The guy who did Crazy Rich Asians, John Chu, he ended up coming out and saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And it's kind of cool because he, John Chu does a lot of like work surrounding like more like urban neighborhood, like cultural like films. Like he did a bunch of the Step Up movies, right? He did also like some of the like he also did some like Gem and the Holograms, which I guess wasn't good.
It was not from what I've seen.
He did the Never Say Never concert movie. Huh?
That movie was trash.
What, Gem and the Holograms?
Yeah.
That movie was awful, I heard. Yeah.
It wasn't even anything like the cartoon.
Yeah, it was literally nothing like the cartoon.
Yeah. But so from what I understand, he also did G.I. Joe Retaliation. But I mean, as we could see, he did also like Now You See Me to Crazy Rich Asians. Apparently, a bunch of other stuff that like did okay or did good. So I don't have a doubt, especially after the way Crazy Rich Asians and the fact that also the creator of the original stage show, Lin-Manuel, helped do the movie with him, right? So it's like, I guess it will hopefully stay like faithful to the original. It's about it's really cool. It's just it's about a lot of like modern issues like gentrification and stuff like that. I think that they changed the story a little bit to revolve around like the whole ICE like things and about immigration and the Dreamers and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be really cool. They have like a really good cast too. So you know what, I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I just went on that whole tangent about In the Heights. Anyways, go support the
Yeah,
official
you're like
release.
the only one talking. So.
Go support the official release next June 2021.
Go support the Heights.
Yeah, go support In the
Go
Heights.
support the
Washington Heights.
Go support Papi's Bodega.
Hey, Papi.
Hey, Pop.
Hey,
Pero papi.
Go support Don
Papi.
Go support Don Poncholo's Bodega on St. Nicholas Avenue.
Pero Papi.
I know Papi. He my friend. He give me free sandwich.
Hey,
He gave me free condom.
$2.25 for all
Oh my
this.
gosh.
He gave me free condom one time when Nathan.
Oh my god. Wait, do you guys remember that comedy sketch from like a long time ago where it was about the robbery and he's like Mr. Rivera. How come your cat sleeping on the bread? You remember that one? That was a funny Tommy sketch.
That TV.
Hey, not me, Poppy, not me. I don't remember. I'll if I can find it. It was.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Let me see if I can.
I will tell you this: it's not a Bronx deli without a deli cat.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Hell
You need
yeah.
a deli cat.
Hell yeah.
to
The
be at
deli
least
cats
one.
are like infamous. They're everywhere in the Bronx. You
Yeah,
tell people that outside of New York and they go nuts. Because everyone who comes here, what's the first thing on their mind? Like, I want to meet a New York deli cat. Where do you meet them? The Bronx and the Heights.
I love it. I never
Yeah.
met a deli cat, to be honest. So
there were plenty in my neighborhood.
yeah, where I went to school, I'm pretty sure they existed, but they were like in the back. They didn't actually let them like roam around.
Yeah, they try to make sure they didn't leave the store either.
Yeah. But I wish I could have seen more of like the deli cats.
Going to the deli, like whenever you go to school, like either before or after, was the dopest shit ever, though. Like,
Yeah.
the shit that you can get, and with like how little money you needed.
Yeah, dude, I did that all the time when I was a kid. Like after school,
Yeah.
me and my friends would go to the deli and we'd buy some snacks. Cause back then, when we were kids, potato chips were like 25 cents.
25 cents, 50-cent
50
powdered
cents.
donuts, $1 for like a bottle of soda.
25 cents for little huggy juices.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
little
yeah.
huggies.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yo, I used to just like live off of huggy juices and 25-cent Lay's potato chips. That's a fucking
deadass.
fifth
And then when
grade diet.
you didn't have enough, the guy behind the counter was like, "Okay, you come tomorrow, you pay me, okay?"
No, my
Yeah,
dad was an asshole. He'd be like 25 cents.
24 cents.
I'm like, I only have about 50 cents.
Oh my god.
I have 15 cents. What will that get me?
No, I take your 15 cents because you waste my time. No, I had this one deli guy. I had this one deli guy that every time, like, if you were short, he would. It was the same deli. There were two guys. One of them was like, "All right, you come tomorrow, you pay me," and then most times people won't come back to pay.
Oh my god!
And then the other one, when you like, if you were short, he would take something out of your order and he'd just be like, "Okay, now you pay, and I give you 25 cents back." And I'm just like, but I wanted that Hershey's bar, and he's like, "Okay, so you better come, you better find money then."
Oh,
God.
I
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I remember back then, I think candy bars were 60 cents.
Yeah.
At least for me it was. But then they raised it to 75 cents, and nowadays they're like $1. So it just goes to show just
Pretty
how
much like $1.25 for like a Hershey's bar or like a Reese's. But yo, tell me how my school got banned from the deli across the street because the fattest kid in the class stole from the deli.
Wait, really?
Yo, wait, that
remember
actually.
that?
Wait, are you talking about our school, Isaac?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
talking about
I remember this shit about all the incidents that would happen at the deli across the street. I remember that.
Dude,
Yeah,
oh my
I know
God.
exactly who you're talking about too. Yeah.
Yo, the day it happened, we were like, the principal announced it on the intercom. She's like, "Good morning," and like she did a normal announcement, and at the end, well, no one can go to the deli across the street because someone stole from the deli.
Yo,
Yeah, I remember they would get super passive aggressive on the loudspeaker. Also, like
someone.
Because some of you don't know what it means to pay for food. We're going to have to
tried to guilt trip the fuck out of people. Yo,
Exactly.
do you remember whenever a new trend of whatever started in the school? Like, they would always, eventually, like 2 weeks later, there would be a loudspeaker ban on it. Like, I remember Tactics became a fad. I remember Yu-Gi-Oh became a fad. Like, you know,
They would
bringing
ban
your Game Boy.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, they banned Yu-Gi-Oh, bro.
Oh,
like, they were
banned,
taking cards away if they saw it. If they saw you.
That. She basically treated it like a
Even if it was after school.
Camp. Like anything fun, she would be a Nazi about it. She'd be like, no tech decks, no Yu-Gi-Oh, no Pokemon, no Digimon, pick Pokemon. Yeah, our principal was, yeah, she was an asshole about things like that. But yeah, we got banned from the deli.
That's
after
funny.
someone stole them. And I remember the day it happened too. Like, we all found out it was in my class too. The kid from my fattest kid in my class stole from the deli, and no surprise, he was fat. And
yeah,
it's like eventually, I don't know how, but like we found out who it was, and we were telling him like, "Yo, just go back and apologize to the deli store owner," and he's like, "No, fuck that."
No.
And eventually, I think he did apologize because like a week during the week, the like our principal made the announcement and she said like, "Oh yeah, the deli store owner says we can go back." But can you believe that shit?
Jesus Christ! Like, I subconsciously like forgot about this, but now that you bring it up, I remember all this shit that that happened basically every other month. Like, some stupid shit just occurred because of someone doing some dumb thing.
Dude, I remember one kid tried to catcall a lady from the window in our classroom.
Bro, I remember this one time. I don't know if you were there that year, but like, I remember one time we were in the lunchroom. You remember how there were windows in the lunchroom and you saw like the upper side of the school building, and it was like a bunch of apartment buildings across from it or something like that? I remember there was this one time a bunch of fucking papers fell, and it was like a whole collage of them that covered the windows for like 20 whole seconds. So when that shit happened, we were all like, "What the fuck, yo? What is that?" A lot of shit. Like, there was always a moment just every day that made it feel like a TV show still.
That exact same shit happened, but in a different private school where some kid in the class called a dude across the street, across the window in his own apartment building, a fucking faggot.
Oh my
Jesus.
And the dude's just like, "Yo, your kid just called me a fucking faggot." And the teacher's like, "Okay, sir, thank you."
Did he say it like that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't look at my window. "Okay, sir, thank you."
Don't
Jordan,
look at my window.
principal's office now. Faggot.
Jesus.
But yeah. Eighth
This
grade.
isn't-
Eighth grade stories, man. Middle school stories.
God.
Yeah, fun fact for the audience, and just gonna let y'all know, I almost went to school with Eric and Isaac. Fun fact.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
almost went to high
almost
school
did.
with us.
It was my second
You
choice.
should have.
Yeah, bitch. We would have been like friends and shit. Damn.
I love that was the rebuttal.
What the hell does that mean?
Because we're not right now, clearly.
Yeah, it's like we would have been like friends and shit. What do you mean?
I would have showed Lawrence how to get head behind the stairs.
Bruh.
Oh my god. There was a funny TikTok I saw the other day of like, I really don't know how many of you guys also face this, but like there was always that one gang that like hung out behind the stairs or something like that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they would,
Not
and
a
like
gang for us, but that did happen.
Not like a gang, but like that one group of guys in your class.
yeah, and they would be the one like they would be like the, they'd be the type to like look at you and like start like mocking you or whatever as you were walking past them, as if you were bothering them, and it's just like, bro, I have to use these stairs to get to class.
You look stupid.
I don't remember anything like that in Hunter Science, although some people did hang out near the stairs, but they were typically like from the other schools for us.
Oh yeah, because they were like.
I remember I walked in.
Campus was like
there was a lot of unhinged
high schools.
There was a lot of unhinged dudes at my school.
Oh yeah, there were kids that the kids downstairs basically felt like, all right, so you know how in Attack on Titan you had like those three cities, and all the cities on the outside were like, all the cities on the inside were like upper class, well educated, like smart people.
Yeah,
but you had the outer walls and shit, which would have the other people. Those were the schools downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, no offense to people who went to art and tech. I met some cool people afterwards, but like anytime
I don't think I
kids,
met a single person. No, actually, no, that's not true. I knew like a few people from the other schools on MLK.
I did too.
Campus.
And then like you remember how randomly in senior year the teachers were like, "Oh yeah, there's a school in the fucking basement of the building."
Is that true?
None of us knew that shit until the end of senior year. Do you remember that, Eric?
Wait. They were in the basement, and that's where the whole school was.
Yo, that's some season finale shit.
Bro, that's some Fire Emblem Three Houses DLC shit. Because that's literally the story for one of the DLCs for that
Extra
game. It's
content.
like there's an extra house like in the sewers. In our case, there's an extra school in the basement.
And they came to meet us too. They're like, let's have a field day. I remember this day vividly. They were like, okay, we're going to let all the schools out at the same time in the yard, which was historical because a little bit of background info. We never got to go outside of the fucking school.
Yeah,
all.
like we had a yard on campus, but we weren't allowed to go out there, even for lunch
what
or
was
whatever.
the point?
The funny thing is, nowadays you're allowed to do that, which is why there was a big inside joke with like me, Isaac, and some other like high school friends of ours. We're like, why did the high school get so much better once we left?
Fucking TVs, water filters.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Outside.
Same thing. They gave all their kids iPads. Like, what?
Yeah, yo, that's another thing. Why does all the good shit happen when we graduate from school? Like, oh yeah, you enroll now, you get
when
free
we
fucking
left,
shit.
It's like Isaac said, like there are like TVs in the hallways. There's like
you
a
guys don't have to
science
take
class. There's
you guys don't have to take
orchestra.
regents or SATs anymore. Whatever shit.
Alright, well
it
that
is.
never changes. So.
The principal got caught in a scandal.
Oh, that did happen with us.
Fucking Christman, the principal who.
I like how we were listing a bunch of perks, and then you go with the principal.
Yeah, but that was a perk. That was a perk.
That was a perk.
You don't have to deal with
that
it.
on Let's Play. That was the top of the stack. Our fucking highness Nazi war criminal.
Jeez, alright, let's not get
All right, I'm not gonna get sued.
Jewish principal.
Hold on, wait. Hold on.
You noticed it too,
He
right?
had the balls to write.
Hold on.
Eric, you noticed it too, right?
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, Nazi criminal, and then he goes Jewish after that.
No, I was about to say, I'm like, hold on, Nazi war criminal, Jewish, what?
Double agent.
J.
All right, look, I'm not gonna get caught in a defamation lawsuit, so I'm gonna
She
just
got
say
caught in a scandal and then had the balls, even though she's a woman, to write a letter to the parents of the school as a big F you to everybody. My time has come. Thank you.
Jesus, she sounds like she's about to get killed.
the hour is upon us.
She was announcing a fucking Smash character.
It's upon us.
She felt like she was announcing a Smash DLC character. Like, thank you. The big day is here. My time has come. And she left.
Yep.
And like after that, we got all the cool shit. But like, yeah.
Yeah, once we graduated, the school got so many upgrades. It was
Dude,
insane.
Like
And then there was
that exact shit happened to the school that I went to for 8th grade and the school that I went to for high school. Like, both of them got huge upgrades, renames, rebrands, a bunch of new shit, new perks for students as soon as I fucking graduate. And some of the stuff is stuff that they also promised to us while we were enrolled over there, and that they said they were going to give to us mid-year, but we never got it. So, like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah,
God.
it happens.
Our time is
college though.
Clearly, our time had come because we had graduated by the time all that shit started happening.
Was upon us.
But God, so I actually remember this now. Yeah, I remember the field day you were talking about, and I do remember there was like one group of students that everyone was like, "Who the fuck are?"
Yo, who the fuck are you?
and then I think one of them told us like, "Yeah, we're the school in the basement," and a lot of us were like, "There was a school in the basement."
Jesus Christ! You outside after 4 years?
In my head, I pictured it like they lived down there the entire 4 years of high school.
All 4 years of college.
They only came out that one time, which is why no one knew about their existence.
Yo,
we've been down there forever.
We're having lunch. You just see like a door open. They're like lunch, and somebody throws a bowl of oatmeal at one of them in the room.
What? Can we talk about how disgusting the lunch and breakfasts were?
God, like, yeah, in school.
I mean, some of the breakfasts were okay. I'll be honest. Like some of the cereal was cool, and the bagels were good too. But the lunches were disgusting.
The lunches were really bad.
Though.
God, the fucking triangle pizzas.
Pizza boats.
I think the triangular pizzas were actually pretty good.
The pizzas were probably like the best parts. Like I was okay with the circular.
I wasn't a big fan of.
No, I love the boat pizzas because they were like pretty 99% sauce with like layer cheese.
How is it that early on those school pizzas were really good, but then over time they quickly became
because
like
they had them too
like,
often.
disgusting?
Because they put them into glory hole donuts
there's like
by the end
next
of
to no
year.
funding for that stuff in this country. That's why school lunch is awful.
Do you remember when?
Remember the fucking chocolate milk ban in our school, Isaac? And News 12 actually came to report on that shit because it made people sick and go to the hospital.
Some of the, that chocolate milk
ban
was like,
during what was it?
It was called
swine flu, and right after swine flu, they're like, no more burgers.
Yeah.
Yo, after the swine flu, there was no more. We had a deli counter at my school where like they would serve you like meat and you can just like and bread and you could just put in your own like condiments and stuff and you have a sandwich if you didn't want the other disgusting food. Yeah, and it was a good option. And then after swine flu, they're like, we're discontinuing it, and they never got it back.
Damn, that's crazy.
I remember in my school they brought back chocolate milk for like one day, and then that was it. Like it was gone for the rest of history.
I remember for me, I didn't like the boat pizzas as much. Like they were pretty but I was okay with the circular and the triangle pizzas.
I like the triangular pizzas.
I didn't think those were too bad, but so I've told it. So you guys kept mentioning things where I'm like, oh, this is a perfect segue for this story I've told a million times, but I'll say it again because in high school for me, my freshman year, I actually ate lunch all the time in the cafeteria. And the reason why is because I got free lunch all the time in high school. So I would always go down there, but like we said, the food's not that great. And then come sophomore year, I learned about like the school stores on our floor where we could just buy snacks to eat from there. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to stay upstairs during lunch and just hang out somewhere and eat a snack for that period, and that's it. But one time, I think sophomore year, a friend of mine wanted to go downstairs to lunch. So I was like, why not? I'll have another cafeteria lunch. Why not? And I think I ate a burger. The very next day, I had to call out sick because I got food poisoning.
Oh my god.
So it's like, after that, I was like, yep, that's it. No more lunch food ever again. And that's...
Eric, I
never ate lunch ever again.
I had a similar ass experience. Like after that, I started taking my own lunch to school with permission note.
You know what was stupid is that like when I was growing up, especially like so in middle school, I didn't have to pay for my lunch before I went. It was always prepaid. Like I just had to like pay for it at like the beginning of the month or beginning of the year or something like that. So I didn't really have to like pay for it up front. Then in high school, it was free for the first year. And then for, I don't know why it was just randomly free. And then the second year we were required to pay $1.25 or $1.50 for this lunch. And I'm sitting here like, where am I gonna get the money? And so my my mom would give me like $20 every week. But the thing is, the fucking cash register wouldn't break 20s. And so I would, and because wasn't so like crazy about like the lunch, I was just like, and be like, you know what? I'll just wait till like they call. Usually they used to call for seconds. Like it would just be like, if anybody wants seconds, you guys can come up. And they wouldn't charge for the seconds, and they wouldn't know who paid and who didn't. So I would wait till then. But there was always a huge line because I guess most people were on the same exact like wavelength. They would save their money for like video games and stuff like that over the year because it's like $20 a week or something like that. They would have. So I was doing the same thing. But like occasionally I wouldn't actually get anything, or like the lunch was like not for me. So I just like never really ate, and also it was like really discussing some of that stuff. Like, once in a while those burgers were like meh. Obviously they've caused food poisoning before, but like when you realize that they're not actually like, it's like not real meat, or if it's like the weirdest part of the beef, like that's just disgusting. It's processed meat.
God.
And then like when you look into the other stuff, like the chicken nuggets, or what, the chicken fingers.
I also remember mozzarella sticks.
The mozzarella sticks were the best.
They were fun.
See, when you got
they
back
were
in the
good
day,
when they weren't overburnt.
Yeah, back in the day when those were like the thing, there
My
were
mom
lines
actually
out the
loved
door.
those mozzarella sticks.
When you had just like a burnt like piece of rock on your fucking lunch plate tray.
Yeah, and it wouldn't fucking move because it was stuck on there.
Yo, why was the breakfast way better than the lunch?
It was because you would get the cereals. They had the juice,
fucking apple juice.
Also, if you guys
had eggs and like toast and shit.
Did you guys ever have snacks at the end of the day?
Yes.
Okay,
No,
so at my high school, we had to like every day we'd have to sign a little form to get snacks. And when we signed, we would get like they would have these like peanut butter and jelly like sandwiches, Graham sandwiches that were frozen, right? Like they were like iced or something like that. They were cold, and they served them with like apple juice, and it was like the best. And like some people didn't like them, so we would just be like, "Hey, you want yours? I'll take it."
Yeah. Eric and my high school were not that generous. They'd be like, "Oh, you're still hungry? Come to after school. We'll throw you a graham cracker or two and maybe some water."
Yeah,
maybe some water.
That's my best. That's my favorite part there.
Not even a fucking juice box, just water.
When I was in,
this was the era of the Christman dictator principle I told you we had.
Yeah, I remember.
When I was in elementary school and middle school, I would drink the chocolate milk, but because like I didn't think I had a choice back then. I never drank regular milk in general, but I drank the chocolate milk, and I thought it was good. And then one day when I was, and this is a little bit disgusting, so discretion is advised. One day I was drinking the chocolate milk, and I felt a clump of something when I was drinking it, and I'm like,
"Oh God,
there shouldn't be a clump of whatever this is
in a fucking chocolate milk."
It was like a solid clump of something, and I don't know what it was. And I was in 5th grade. I'm just like,
that's like when you're chewing into meat and you get to like a chewy part that you can't like bite into all the way.
Yeah, it was the same exact thing, like in my case.
What the hell was it?
I don't know. I spit it out, and I like didn't drink anymore for the rest of the day.
I would have stopped drinking milk, period, at that point.
Remember sometimes.
What?
Like there were times I would look at that I'd get from area, especially school, and I'd feel like that shit.
Dude, thinking about it sometimes just makes me feel like regurgitating, just from like the trauma that I have of like
the PTSD.
Yeah, the PTSD.
Beings is different. Well, it was
like Isaac, you're not coming in well.
The chicken didn't look right. The meat didn't smell right. The pasta was just fucking terrible.
What pasta? You guys had pasta?
Not commonly. It'd be like it would be very rare. Like sometimes.
Yeah.
Pasta was like the least
thing we'd have. Most of the time, it'd be like chicken patties, French fries, mozzarella sticks. Shit.
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 Yeah, they served literal
we
feces
couldn't
on
like
the
come
plate.
up with
From the
anything else.
teacher's lounge.
We've been pretty exhausted and we can't come up with anything else good. So here's shit.
There was these I don't know, you guys, we had a vending machine, right? But it had all these this healthy stuff in it.
Yo, I was gonna say earlier, in the school that I went to for 8th grade, they had vending machines, but while they had like, soda and like regular snacks in them at first, over the year there were either some empty vending machines or they got replaced by like shit that no one wanted to buy.
Yeah. There was this like flavored water drink.
Oh, I hate those.
It wasn't even vitamin water.
Yeah, it was knockoff vitamin water, and the thing is, it's like when you have clumpy milk like that, like obviously I would prefer the bootleg vitamin water over
generic ass brand, yeah.
Yeah, over clumpy milk chocolate, right? And I would wait until the end of the day when they give us the icy apple juice for snack or orange juice or whatever it was, but my God, those were the best. The small little like apple juice or fruit punch. Like,
why does clumpy milk chocolate sound like a skin disease?
Because that's pretty much what I drank that one day. Like a skin disease of some sort. Yeah,
Imagine
I don't know.
skin disease.
That was quite the time, and the French fries were like not too bad too. I'll say that, but that's just because we were like.
French fries are good some of the time,
in comparison to the other shit that they would serve. Like, I mean, I would prefer the French fries, which at least tasted somewhat like salted cardboard, so it's like a little better.
Right.
It's a little better than like not actually tasting good. Could you imagine what a tuna sandwich would be like?
Oh God, that's why I've never. That's why in general I don't really eat tuna, but like imagine a school lunch version of that shit.
Yeah, I never really liked fish from schools. Like,
yeah,
it's never tasted right to me.
I don't trust them with regular meat. I can't trust them with fish.
Fish is a lot harder.
It's pretty hard to fuck up chicken. I feel
fish is a lot easier to mess up. So yeah.
There was one day where it was typically mozzarella stick day, right? And I don't like it was literally the biggest betrayal of my sophomore year. Was when everyone thought it was mozzarella day, and as soon as everyone started eating it, they realized it was fish sticks, and it tasted like crap. Literally, everybody.
That's like when people take a bite into oatmeal raisin cookies, thinking they're chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like so mad. It's like, this is bullshit.
That moment of disappointment, yeah.
There was maybe one table in the entire, it was a big ass lunchroom that actually kept eating it, but everybody in mass got up and threw it away, and they were all really mad, and then they were asking the lunch lady, "What is this?" And then they said, "We have peanut butter jelly sandwiches if you want." And it's like, no, I don't pay you that much for you to
deceive us.
Yeah, for you to give me peanut butter jelly sandwiches, which you made with what? 2 minutes of your time?
I mean, it's peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It doesn't take long.
Yeah, I know.
How do you mess up peanut butter jelly sandwich?
You don't put jelly.
You put that. No. You know how you mess it up?
Is in the fucking name.
You know how you mess it up? You put that garbage ass product that's like a combination of.
Yeah.
That's how you mess it up. I hate that.
That's how you mess it up.
I'm gonna look up what it looks.
God.
the kiwi and
it's Smuckers, I think.
Smuckers is not bad though. They use some other bullshit that
the
really bad.
Okay, it's something like this. Look, it's Smuckers Goober.
Yeah, it's the Smuckers. But Smuckers, really? They have those Uncrustables those are really good, and
I like this product. I hate it.
Yeah.
It tastes awful to me. I'd rather just have regular peanut butter and regular jelly.
Back of
America's favorite.
That's like the shit you find behind the road, like the shelves in a fucking grocery store.
No, that's
the shit that no one ever buys.
That's the shit you find in the white people grocery store, man.
This looks like a limited time, item kind of shit.
But it was
Dusty as
everywhere.
fuck
It was
'cause nobody
everywhere,
else
yeah.
bought it.
And it sucks. Like, just buy regular peanut butter and regular jelly, and then just
Yeah,
combine
get like
them.
No, dude,
fucking
just by looking,
get Skippy or something.
that doesn't look right, man.
Yeah, I
It
never
doesn't
liked
look
this.
right.
Look at the fucking grape and the peanut. That peanut is like, fuck this. Who the fuck are you looking at, bitch? Get away from me.
I
Yeah,
think,
they look like they're in love. Like, look at that.
Nah, the
Alright.
grape looks like he's in love.
The
The
jar
peanut's
is
like,
the result
no,
of that.
why is the grape Lawrence and the peanut Eric?
What? What?
The grape's like, oh, Eric.
Alright,
Like,
can
all
you
right.
not-
Hey man, look, I approve, but that's not what I'm talking about, okay?
You
Bruh.
confess to being gay.
Oh my god. But
God.
yeah, no, this was everywhere in like the Upper East Side grocery stores. I'm telling you, like,
Upper
Dude.
East Side.
and you
can
would see
find
the
this shit
hipster
on
guys.
Burnside
Burnside?
Avenue in the Bronx.
They sell that shit?
Yeah, but it's dusty as fuck and no one ever buys it.
You know, it's funny. I think I remember. I remember in that first year of high school where I actually had to go to lunch. I'm pretty sure there was a vending machine there that I think we sometimes got like those Fiber One
Oh,
granola
yeah.
bars and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember.
Those are
some
the
kids
most
who did.
expensive
At least
things
that's a
in the
real
vending
brand.
machine too.
Yeah, like
There was
it
nothing
had
else to get from
general
there.
stuff like that. But yeah,
Fiber Ones, like non-popular food brand shit.
They had
like,
they
you
had
want-
the baked Lay's chips.
yeah, they had the baked stuff. That's right.
Oh yeah, baked stuff. Yeah.
You know, the shit no one cares about,
I
but they have
remember that.
I was
Yeah,
not
they
a
had
fan.
those.
I
Yeah,
was
it's like
not a
fuck
fan of
that.
those,
Just
to
give
be
me
honest.
regular chips.
Just whack ass chips. Give me some Cheetos.
And I also believe they had the
Give me
blue.
real Lay's.
They had the blue. What was it? What are those things called? Sun chips. They had the blue sun chips in there.
Sun
Oh,
chips.
that.
Oh god, I hated that.
Well,
That
I
was
like
like-
Sun Chips.
I like
but
Sun
the one-
Chips.
I like the ones that actually have flavor to them, not
Yeah.
the ones that are just really bland.
Plain.
And plain.
The tomato
Yeah.
ones are alright.
Like I
Tomato
like
Sun
sour cream and onion Sun Chips a lot.
Yeah.
Lawrence,
remember
you
liking
remember that vending machine really well because, like,
You know
that's, like,
why?
one of
Because
Yeah,
that's
I
the only thing I would
I only
eat.
remembered after he shouted out what was in it, and I was
To be
like,
honest,
"Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
right."
You know,
That
the
was
only
one thing
reason
I
I
really
remember that vending machine so well is because that I would prefer to eat that instead of the other one, because sometimes I had singles and I was like, oh shit, I can just buy a cereal bar from like a Trix cereal bar or something like that.
You know, I just
they also had
realized.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal bars too.
Oh yeah, I liked those. I don't remember if those were in the vending machine though. But I just realized I haven't seen Sun Chips in like a million years. Are they still around?
Yeah,
They're
they're
still around. You just
You don't
You just
really
gotta
see them
find
as
them.
much. I guess like the only time it's funny because like you used to see that shit every single day in high school, and now it's like
Yeah, and now I never
relationship
see it. I feel like it's
ended.
been years since I've seen Sun Chips at all. Years
you
since
broke
I've
up with it
eaten
after
any.
senior year.
But so with the whole like food thing. So this reminds me in middle school, it's like what we said earlier. What I would always do is I would go to the bodega and I'd buy like 2 or 3 bags of chips and something to drink. And I remember my favorite bag of chips back then in middle school were Utz barbecue flavored corn chips. And I don't know what happened to them, but I can never find them anymore. I feel like they just got
man.
discontinued or whatever. Like it's
Yeah, I
these
feel
chips right here.
Oh my god!
I loved
You-
those chips when I
You've
was in
unlocked
middle
a hidden
school.
memory, my friend.
I loved these chips so much as a kid, and it's like they vanished after middle school. I can never find them again, and that always upset me. But another thing I actually did in middle school, this really takes me back because this place has been closed for so long, but in middle school, me and a bunch of my friends would go down to a pizza place. It was called Giorgio's, and we would always go there because the slices weren't that big, but the upside to it was that the slices were $1 along with soda.
Nice.
So literally, like, what do? We'd go there and we'd buy like maybe 2 slices and a soda to eat after school, and it tasted pretty good. And that was like the second thing we would do. Like if it wasn't the bodega, it was Giorgio's. But sadly,
Giorgio's.
yeah, Giorgio's closed down forever ago. And that always
Yes.
upset me. Every time I walk past it, all those memories from middle school, like walk past where it used to be, all those memories from middle school would flood back in because, yeah, it's been And that reminds me. So Isaac, you know what was a similar spot in high school? The McDonald's near like the 72nd train
Yeah,
station.
bro. I was just about to bring that up. There was like a block of all these places to eat: McDonald's, pizza, Starbucks.
Oh yeah,
Shit.
Subways,
Pinkberry.
Pinkberry,
Subways. Yo, there was like a
That was
block
like-
from our school.
It was like right next to the 72nd 1 train station. And a lot of
Yep.
people would sometimes get out there and just walk to school because they would want to buy like bacon, egg, and cheese on the way or whatever.
Or go to the
I know
Rite
I
Aid and buy like drinks.
Yeah, I know I did that sometimes, even though 60
That block is still there, and I still remember like going there.
Yeah,
and like
man.
it would be full of like kids from our high school, like from
Yup.
not just from the school but from the building, because
Yup.
mind you, our building had like 1,000 students, so it would just get crazy.
Yeah, that really takes me back because that block was basically full of stores that all of us would go to after school to eat. And I remember I
Yeah.
especially liked we went to the McDonald's a lot and we went to the pizza place a lot.
I honestly miss that a lot. Like
There
I had some
was-
good memories going there.
There was
Yeah,
this one
too.
pizza place near, because I used to go to school on Fordham Road, so my middle
Fordham
school
Road.
was actually on East Fordham, and so there was a pizza place that was like right by there, and my friend's father owned it. It was right next to the Burlington. It was called Giovanni's. And so it was cool because it's like everybody knew who this kid was, and they would always just ask him, "Yo, you gonna give me a slice of pizza?" And it was to the point where it's like, like he got tired of it, and he's just like, "Yo, if y'all want a slice of pizza, just come up and fucking buy one. Stop being cheap." And it's just like, why would I do that when you own a pizza shop? But anyways, so he owned that one, but he also owned one near where Ray lives. Also,
Yeah, I remember that Giovanni's. That's the one.
they're
Like,
the same. Yeah, they're under the same franchise. But I think, from what I understand, both of those franchises don't exist.
Yeah, they closed down like a while ago.
Yeah. So
there's
and
like a
now
different pizzeria there now.
the one on East Fordham now looks like a now is it's a Kennedy Fried Chicken.
No, actually,
Kennedy
it's
fried chicken.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
actually,
Kennedy, by the way. It's the bootleg KFC.
You're
Okay.
talking about the. Are you talking about the first one or
KFC
the
is
second?
disgusting anyway, so I don't
Yeah.
care.
Lawrence, are you talking about the first one or the second one
Which one?
of Giovanni's?
The one
Pokemon
that's,
Master?
Oh
the
my
one
God.
that's on East Fordham.
Yeah, that one I think is a Kennedy Fried Chicken now.
Yeah,
and
what's the
not
one
to
that's
be-
near you now?
Not to be confused with Kentucky Fried Chicken, to be clear
Yeah.
for the viewers. And
Kennedy Fried.
and the one on Fordham right now is
Mom,
like a
I
different.
wanted KFC. We have KFC at home, and it's Kennedy Fried Chicken.
It's a box of Kennedy Fried.
The one on Fordham is it's a different pizzeria right now. So but yeah, so it's sad, but I will admit though, over time the pizza did get pretty expensive even by the slice. So.
Yeah, my guy raised prices to like $4 a slice. I was like,
$4 a slice.
this is a sin in the Bronx, okay?
And dude, I'm
$4?
gonna be real. Like while the
I
pizza was
would
decent,
never
it wasn't
eat
even
there
that
if
good.
I was a kid.
Also, yeah, I was like, that's another reason why when
You get more bang for your buck at a dollar.
that's the
pizza
reason
shop.
why when he was saying like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you guys should just come to my shop and buy it instead of asking me. I'm like, hell no, it's $4. I'm not spending my pizza money there. There's a shop right up Fordham that sells it for like $2, and I get a can of soda. So
Yeah.
no,
What the
like,
hell?
dude,
Why would you waste $4 for one slice?
That's
you
why-
know, fun
it's so
fact, he managed
weird.
to stay in business there for like at least 5 to 7 years. So I guess it
Yeah.
worked for him for a bit, but like,
dude, it's so weird because like I see pizzerias like whenever I walk by a pizzeria now, and they're not like doing the whole $2.75 deal, like 2 slices and a can of soda, or at least something around that price range. It's weird because like I know there's one near where I work where the single pizza slice and a can of soda is like $6. I'm like, what the fuck? I know this is Manhattan, but like it shouldn't be that expensive. Like I'd rather make the trek down to a dollar pizza store and have lunch there than spend all that money on a single slice. That might not even
Yeah.
get me through the whole day.
yeah, something I remember about Fordham back in the day was that they used to have all those little shacks and stuff on the plaza.
Yeah.
They used to sell all this,
Yeah,
like, cheap
the dollar
bootleg
pizza
stuff.
shack. You went to that one too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
now they don't exist because
They don't
Florida
exist.
Plaza has just become more of like a commuter place where buses park and stuff like that instead.
Yeah, it's disappointing, but
well.
eh.
I
Once in a
was
while they do like plaza festival things, but it's like once in a while though. That's the thing.
I was just thinking about, for some reason, I was thinking of that teacher that you and that Eric and Isaac had, the one that Isaac does the really good impression of.
Which one?
The Indian dude.
Juram?
Oh my
God!
I'm already thinking of going back to seeing him. What's like? I hope he's there next year.
Yo, what if he sees you?
Like,
He's like, Isaac, oh my god!
So we went back in the summer. We went back last
year,
right before summer started in May. Yeah, in May.
Yeah, in like May of 2019.
Oh my god!
We just walk around just like immersing ourselves in the nostalgia of our old high school, like seeing the hallways, seeing the door, like the rooms and shit. And we go into our old chemistry room, and we're like, yo, let's go talk to Mr. Jurem. And we walk in, and he's like, are you he's like, Jurem, do you remember? Oh no, it was in the computer lab because he wasn't in his room. We went to the computer lab, and we walk in, and we're like, yo, Mr. Jurem, do you remember us? Yes, I'm Mr. Jurem. He puts his glasses on. You are.
Oh my god!
Good.
Yeah.
What happened to you, man? You grew up. Oh, look at you, nice beard, huh?
Yeah, that trip was so nostalgic. Like visiting our high school again after so long.
That was a trip.
It's funny. That same summer, because it was like May 2019, and I think 2 months later, I was hanging out with some grad school friends, and after we did a escape room, and then after that we had curry, and then after that we ended up going to see a movie. It was about that movie of that Chinese grandmother who was dying of cancer, The Farewell, that came out last year. Yeah. And they wanted to really see it, so I was like, yeah, sure, let's go see it. But the movie theaters near us at the time where we were didn't have a showing that was about to happen. So we were wondering, it's like, oh, what movie theater can we go to? And I was like, wait a minute, I got it. We went to the AMC near our high school, Isaac. You remember the AMC?
Oh shit, yeah, the AMC Lincoln.
Yeah. We went there to see The Farewell, and when I went there, it was such a huge blast of nostalgia because I've literally I haven't been to that theater since I think Man of Steel. I'm not even kidding. It's been so long. So I was having a huge nostalgia trip when I went into the theater and we went to our seats and all that. And the movie ended up being pretty good, by the way, for anyone interested. I thought it was really sweet. But after that, despite it being a little late, I was like, hey guys, let me show you my high school. And I showed them, like, I even told them, it's like, this is the typical walk I would go to the high school, like coming out of the train station, and show them the high school. And then after that, we left. I just showed them, like, and I talked about it a bit. And it's funny, like, months later, when I'm just hanging out with my grad school friends on Discord, one of the ones that was there that day recounted that memory of me, like, showing him and our other friends my high school. And the way he described it made me laugh, because he said that I sounded like an old man waxing nostalgia.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And it's like, yeah, he's not wrong, because I don't know what it is, man. Like,
it's been 800 years.
It's been so long that even just the walk that I used to do to get to school was nostalgic, because I had not been near that neighborhood. I hadn't been in that neighborhood in so long, so when I started taking that walk again, I was like, whoa.
Holy shit.
So weird.
Like, this is the same, but that's different.
Yeah, basically.
Yo, this is the same, but I'm different.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
well, this place used to look a lot bigger when I was
now recording.
When I was a little.
Craig
does feel
left.
that way. Yeah.
Craig left while you were talking. So,
Oh,
but don't worry. This is why we have OBS.
Yeah, that's why we got the OBS.
Hey, clutch.
Cowboys.
Yeah, clearly we're all a bunch of nostalgia-hungry young adults, because we always talk about, like, the old days.
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Good.
I don't know. I don't know what about that impression just makes me so happy.
Oh my
Because
god!
you can feel like the
Jesus.
jovial energy from that guy. He was just a really like happy.
He was
upbeat
was
guy.
easily one of the best teachers.
Yeah, for real.
Yo,
I
shout
had
out
him
to
freshman year.
all of the good,
The good teachers, like Isaac.
diamond, like all those good rough in the diamond teachers that you would find.
You mean
in
Diamond
your
in the
school.
Rough?
Or diamond in the rough.
Rough in the
Rough in the
diamond. But yeah,
By the way, thank
shout
you,
out
Mark.
to all the good teachers, including Isaac, who's apparently now a teacher. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I felt as much nostalgia about my like going back to my high school and stuff like that. In recent years, I used to go back and work there often, but like, as of recently, it doesn't seem like I'm really all that welcome there anymore. Not because of anything bad, just because like I think I have overstayed my welcome almost of like being an alumni kind of thing because I used to go back that often. It's not my fault. Oh well. But I mean, there's still a lot of like teachers and like people there that still like want me to keep coming around because they realize that I'm like, I'm a good person, I guess. But yeah, it's been I miss high school. Parts of high school. There was a lot of stupid shit that happened in high school too that I just don't want to remember it too. But same with middle school. Same with in a weird way. I've never like as much as like I see all these like high school movies or like middle school movies or college movies and like everyone always has a happy ending. It ain't like that in real life. in a weird way, it's just like I've never had the same like a legit experience that mirrors that of like any of these shows or movies. Like you would think like the way that like Boy Meets World, like the way that they like picture like high school or college or something is like, oh yeah, you have all these cool people, you have a bunch of cool memories, and you learn a lesson every day. It ain't like that. And sometimes it's like, yeah, I kind of just want to forget that a lot of that happened. I wish I had as much like drive or desire to remember a lot of those days, but high school was the only probably memorable thing is that like I was a huge musical guy, so like I would star in a musical twice a year, and I'd also do science research, like all the like club stuff, and some of the and some of the like classes that I took. There was a lot of club stuff and a lot of classes that I took there that like did memorable things, and some people still ended up being like nice, and to this day I still talk to a couple people from high school still. But it stands a testament of time that sometimes like the people that you think are going to be there aren't, but some people are. Like for example, like you guys. I met you guys like when I was in like junior year of high school going into my senior year. So it was like,
Is that true?
Yeah, this was 2014. That was the first time I was a junior going into a senior. And I remember that same year we were still Team Triforce, and we were still going into like we were going to YouTube space parties. We were like occasionally doing podcasts.
God, I remember the YouTube space parties.
Those are cool, and we met a lot of really cool people there too.
Yo, the YouTube space parties.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
And so
they really dropped the ball on those.
And so like those were the fun memories that I had definitely came from like people who I ended up still having to this day. Like there was this one kid that I had that I did a project with back in the day, and at the time like we didn't really like we weren't really like close friends. He was more like the kind of person that kind of like looked at me and was like, that kid's kind of weird. But then over time it was funny. I met him. He came back, and I met him at my other college, not as a student, but he was visiting because he was looking to go to grad school there, and we hung out, we talked, we caught up. And he, I still talk to him to this day too. And so like he's still like he ended up being like a really cool person. One of the actual one person from high school.
One Piece. That's what you were about to say.
One person from high school. I ended up like one person from high school that actually ended up not being like like a terrible person that actually wanted to like continue talking to me. And there was like also a lot of others that like, even though we don't talk, like we still like interact. Like maybe we'll like each other's photo on Instagram or some shit like that. But there were a lot of people who were just like, I'm just gonna forget this person ever existed, kind of thing. And those are the people that I definitely didn't like. But what's funny, what I meant to say here is that like, I made a lot of memories with you guys. And even starting like as I was exiting high school, and I mean, look at the data, right? Like, who stuck around at like to this day, right? We're 6 years ago. You guys stuck around, right? And some friends also stuck around. Some of my college friends from the other school also stuck around, and so it's like, you know, it stands a testament of time also just to think about like, who are the people that really like stood by you in like through those hard times. And like the only reason I'm bringing this up is because we have all these like positive memories of high school, or really just like comedic memories, but there's like a lot to think about of like those people that didn't have like the same memories, and or like, you know, wanted like those things that you see in the movies. So like, I wanted a High School Musical, or like I wanted like a what's some other, like I wanted a Boy Meets World thing, or like I wanted something like that, and then it just didn't happen because, you know, people are cruel and people suck. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you know, I'm thankful that like, you know, at the end of the day, you guys ended up like being the people that are still around, right?
Right.
Even today. And so it's like, you know, that is probably the only stuff that I miss, but I don't really miss it because I still have you guys now. But I miss a lot of the stuff in high school where it's like things where they were simple but not at the same time. Like,
yeah,
I miss the academics too. Like a lot of the shit is way like far easier than the stuff I'm getting now. For obvious reason. You know, but I was like, wow, I really took all that stuff for granted. Now, like, yeah, like, you know, having somebody hound your ass during high school was super nice to have. But in the not having that in college, you know, like I'm pretty sure you don't go chasing around your students now, Isaac, for example, if someone's not turning in a piece of work, right? Right, Isaac?
A piece of yeah.
You're not how it's like, if you don't turn it in, that's a 0. That's it. That's end of story, right?
I mean, it really, it can depend on the situation, but like, I'll try to be understanding in some cases, but I'm not too like. For my first time around, I could say that I'm not like a dickish person about it.
Yeah. So, you know, I like that. I like, you know, that we did create still like really good memories in high school and even in middle school still. Like even if some of the stuff wasn't really all that good, like for example, finding out about that scandal from your teacher and your principal in it was your principal, right?
It was our principal, yeah. Actually, funny enough, it was my high school principal and my middle school principal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Both of them got caught in scandals.
Yeah, and so, you know, there were those moments, and also like, I'm pretty sure there were also like a lot of moments where it's just like, you know what, fuck this place. I mean, like, I guess this is the question: would you guys ever go back to like high school?
To like visit?
I mean, to visit, yeah.
No. I mean, like, if you had the opportunity to,
right?
if you had.
Well, are you asking like if we would redo high school? Like,
yeah.
4 years,
Like,
or
if you had the opportunity to time travel.
Wait, like, yeah, are you asking if we would redo it?
Yeah, if we had the opportunity to time travel.
To be honest,
it happened, and
I'll redo some days, but not all of them.
I feel like high school happened, and I'm good with it. Like I don't need to go back. I feel like all the nostalgia that I get from it, I can get just from talking to old people who went to high school with me, or just from going back, or like walking in the neighborhood. But besides, or talking to Eric. But
Yeah.
you know,
I'll
besides
redo the school trips and like the senior trip. But, like besides,
I mean, I guess
besides
I wouldn't mind reliving the senior trip we had. That was a fun time.
besides that,
broke my
yeah.
leg at senior trip.
I remember. Yep. God,
Yeah.
that's I mean, yeah, like I don't mind visiting it. I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind like even just walking around the school, like I did that one day when I was hanging out with grad school friends. Like I love that neighborhood where our high school was actually. Like I legitimately kind of miss it, and I wish I was in that neighborhood more often.
That like going to high school on the Upper West Side was just fun, man. Like
Yeah, it really was.
It really made up for some bullshit about high school. Like I can say there was bullshit too, like everyone can, but we couldn't bring our phones in. Like we could not bring any electronics in unless you had like a medical reason for it, and even then you couldn't have it in class.
Yeah.
So that shit was whack. But besides that, like it being in the heart of Manhattan, like well, not the heart, but like Upper West Side, there was a movie theater, there was like a place to go to after school, there was like food places afterwards. You could do stuff, and a library right across the street. Like
Yep,
it was
the
nice.
library. Yeah, that was a cool library too.
It was really cool. Like it really thinking back to it now, it's just like damn, like that was a really fun time of my life, and I have my thrill.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that's basically how I am. Like, I think honestly, a big reason why I have such fond memories of that time period of going to high school and all that in that area is because, well, for one, middle school was not that great.
Yeah.
There was like it was kind of shitty, not gonna lie, outside of a few teachers that I did genuinely like and some friends that I've kept up with to this day, although it's primarily just one from middle school. Like, up to that point, pre-K, elementary school, and middle school, I was just going to neighborhood schools. Like, all that time, I was just going to schools in my neighborhood of Washington Heights. And high school was, you have to apply for high school in New York City, at least. And obviously everyone took like the specialized high school SATs and, to get into the specialized high schools, but obviously you still apply for regular ones.
Yeah.
And I applied for, I think Hunter Science was like my first choice after the specialized schools and all that. The funny thing is, when it comes to those SATs, I was the highest in my school, but I still didn't get in. I was allowed to go to Brooklyn Latin if I wanted to, but I declined because I didn't want to go all
Latin.
the way. I didn't want to go all the way to Brooklyn for high school. So I said, nah, I'll pass. I'll do another high school, and I chose science as like one of my top choices.
I'll pass. I don't feel like getting up for school at 4:30 in the morning.
4:30 a.m. Yeah, exactly.
Yo, I had friends that actually got accepted to Staten Island Tech, and they would get up at 4:30 to take the goddamn ferry.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
To be there by 7:30.
I'm not doing that.
I went to Staten Island Tech.
I went
Actually,
to
that's funny.
college.
In high school, there were some kids in our high school that were from Staten Island, and they did a similar thing. They would have to take the ferry to get to Hunter Science. And it's like, wow, okay. I can't believe you did that. I'd rather have just gone to a Staten Island high school at that point. But
there were people from Staten Island in our school?
Yeah, man. There was one in the theater group.
They were in the basement, man.
Jeez. But anyway, yeah, like I think I'm basically the same. It's like what I was saying earlier, like from pre-K, elementary, middle school, I was only going to neighborhood schools. High school was the first time I was actually able to go out into the city way more often. Because back then, like during the times of like pre-K, elementary, middle school, it was like a luxury to go down to like Times Square or whatever with like family every once in a while. But starting with high school, I was able to go out more and go like explore parts of the city more often. And like Isaac said, that neighborhood where Hunter Science is really cool. Like there's plenty of restaurants to eat at. There's a library right across from our high school. There's I think there's even like a basketball court close by and everything. Like it was a really nice little neighborhood, and yeah, like it was a really fun time of my life, but I don't think I would want to relive it. because it's like it's past. Like I talk about nostalgia a lot because yeah, there are times where I genuinely miss days like that, simpler times where all that was on your mind was having fun, hanging out with friends, like playing games, watching cartoons, all that stuff. But it's past, and I'm okay with it. Like I have the memories to look back on. I have people like Isaac to talk to about it, but I don't think I'd want to relive it. Like at most, I'd maybe re-experience one day of high school, and it'd probably be the senior trip just because that was fun. But that was it. That's all I'd go. I would never want to redo it personally.
That's fair. I love that. Like as soon as I was like, "Would you guys redo it?" Everyone was like, "Hell no!"
No. Okay. Like, would I redo? Let's see, senior trip, probably. That's about it. Like,
yeah,
I got what I got. I got what I got out of it. I'm not gonna say I got what I needed, because I'll just be straightforward on the board here. High school was bullshit. Like a lot of the shit that they said we needed, I'm still not using now. Like,
same.
Shit like what is it? The Magna Carta was, very important in English history. Like that shit does not matter now. At least not when I need, to pay bills. Historically important, but like, I got what I got out of it. I guess one other fun thing things I still miss from high school was like the nostalgia of, movies that I watched, games that I played as a kid. I was gonna say this before I got disconnected, but randomly we went down. Like I remember, randomly, like a group of kids and I from my school just went to we took a bus to the east side and just went to the Sony PlayStation Lounge at the Sony Wonder Building, and we just played like Mortal Kombat, racing games, God of War, like the God of War 3 when it just came out, and Uncharted.
Oh God, yeah.
And Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3 when it just came out on PS3.
Drake's Deception, yeah.
Drake's Deception, yeah, bro. Like, I remember that shit like it was like a dream, because for me, like it was like popping pills, because I'd be stuck in school all day until 2 p.m. with no phone, and like having to deal with security guards, and then randomly like, yo, let's go play PlayStation. Where? Let's take a bus there. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, the PlayStation Lounge. We did that.
PlayStation Lounge.
Yeah,
we did. That was like a good time. Times like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I miss it. I would redo that.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like here's the thing, because like the regular school part obviously wasn't that great, because there's like homework and regents and all that stuff to worry about. But like the experience as a whole was good, not like the school aspect.
Yeah, the experience, the good experiences you have with the students and staff is
what makes up for it. Yeah, like for me, another big reason why high school is such a fun period of time for me was because I was part of the theater group in high school. I joined in sophomore year, and I was in it all the way up to the end of senior year. And the theater room was basically like my hangout spot. And I remember so many fond memories of just going there for lunch or after school to practice for the upcoming play we were doing or whatever. And sometimes we would stay really late, like up to like 5 or 6 p.m. And I didn't mind, because we were just hanging out and chilling, just talking and whatever. We had like video games in that room, so we would sometimes play that. They'd sometimes put like Doctor Who shit in the background, and I wasn't too crazy about that, but it's like, hey, whatever, the others are into it, so
I remember a lot of theater kids are into Doctor Who.
Yeah, and like and sometimes we would even come in like during the weekends. Like if we were getting near the time of our play or the date of our play or musical or whatever, we would start doing rehearsals in the weekends, and we'd obviously get let in by the security guards and some of the others, and that was fun too, just coming in during the weekends and hanging out there. They would order pizza for us and all that, so it was really chill. It's a lot. High school is a lot, basically, which is why it's a fond memory, but I feel like I'd probably want to keep it a memory at this point. I don't want to relive shit like Regents and all that.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't want to relive getting up at 6 a.m. for the
Dude,
bus.
yeah,
Fuck
that's
that.
For the
Sleeping for 2 hours
to the
a
fucking
night.
train.
God,
Fucking
Isaac,
half-fare Metro cards.
Okay, that is one thing that I legitimately will always miss: the student Metro cards, because
Yeah.
you got
Metro
3
cards are
rides
the
on
shit.
it every day.
For
Okay,
free,
yeah,
dude.
but
Oh my
you,
God.
only if you qualify for them. In the case of my schools, they always gave me the stupid fucking half-fare Metro card, which is pointless.
Oh well, I
Yeah.
mean,
You
for
want
our
a
high
full
school,
fare Metro
we need
card?
it.
What do you
Yeah, I
think? We got
know,
money?
but like for our high school, they made us. I have to take the select bus over to my high
Jesus
school.
Christ.
So
and that's all
like,
you needed, the select bus.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
like there were other ways, but like the best way to get over there was through the select bus. And the thing is that obviously you have to put the card in the machine, but the machine doesn't. Obviously, it won't take a half fare Metro card. So what you have to do is that you have to put quarters in the coin machine that you see at some like
Jesus
bus
Christ.
stops.
Oh my
And you get a
god!
receipt for that, and then you show that to the bus driver, and they're supposed to give you a ride.
That
There
is
was one
bullshit.
time that this asshole bus driver on the BX12 didn't give me a transfer because he was like, fares 225 or whatever shit, 275. And I'm explaining to him like, you're supposed to give me a transfer because I'm showing you the receipt and the half fare Metro card. And this dude was willing to drive off away from 207th Street with me still on it. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Wow, that's weird.
That
That's
is an
wild.
asshole right there. Yeah,
I
dude,
didn't. I'm
that
not gonna
sucks.
lie,
That fucking sucks that you got
Yeah.
a half fare. Like, you should have gotten a full fare, dude.
dude. I didn't even know half fare student Metro cards were a thing. I thought the norm was what me and Isaac had, which was
I didn't
regular
know half
student Metro
fares were a thing until,
Yeah.
like, I actually saw that
Yeah, I
shit
knew about those.
years later when I'm like, wait, why do you have a I was looking at my sister's Metro card. I'm like, why do you have a half fare? What's that?
I think they gave it to people who were closer to the school because I remember there were some people in my school who also got half fares, but that's because they lived, I think, more than 2 transfers away from the school. Like you would have to take more than one piece of
Yeah, they did it by address.
transportation.
I don't know how it worked exactly.
So
Bro,
for
Yeah.
me,
if I'm
I
taking the
had to
bus-
take 2 buses and a train to get to my high school, or like from my high school. I'd have to take 2 buses and a train. That was just probably the best way. I mean, there was a way to get there by taking just 1 bus and a train, but like the easier way and the way that most people took was 2 buses and a train. That way, so I had no choice because I didn't want to get mugged, so I had to take the way that most people were taking.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, that so I
Sorry,
had to,
guys. I can't get mugged, so I gotta go this way.
I had to go the long way. And so, they gave me a full price Metro card, but I knew some people who lived maybe like, 1 bus away, they got the half fare.
That is ass.
So
That's wild, man.
that card
just
shouldn't
fucking
exist. Like, there's no point.
I feel like it should just be the student Metro card, like just the
Like,
regular 3
yeah.
rides a day one. That's bullshit. Like I know it
I shouldn't
depends
be
on
giving
your
them my money.
like I know it can depend on like you guys said that the reasoning was like how far away the school is from
Yeah.
your home,
Yeah.
right? That determines like student Metro
Yeah.
card stuff. But even I feel like that's too much of a hassle. It's like just give all the students.
Yeah.
So what they
cards.
do,
Why do we
they
have these?
explained to me how it worked when I used to work there. They said is that what they did is the way the DOE does it is they ask the administrators to get a roster, a list of all the students and their addresses, and then they send that to the MTA, and the MTA like writes it all down, and then based on that they have like a computer program that determines like the most efficient way to get home, and then they're like, okay, so if the most efficient way for you to get home is 1 bus, and what the hell is that?
It sounds like a race is happening in the background or something.
Who's drag racing?
Fast and Furious is shooting in the background.
If there is 1 bus and 1 train, like something like that, you use something like Google Maps, then they're like, okay, so yeah, we can give you the full fare, but if it's only like 1 bus or 1 train away, you only get the half fare. So
That's bullshit, honestly.
Yeah.
I got lucky. I had the I all I had to take was 1 train. I had to take the 1 train from the Heights to like 66th Street. And I was basically at school. After that it was like 1 block a walk, and that was it. And I had the regular student Metro card. So I had 3 rides every day, and that was great because you need 2 swipes to go to and from your home. But you got that extra swipe for if you wanted to go out and hang out in Times Square or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I utilized a lot. That sucks though. You guys definitely should have gotten the regular Metro card.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Yeah, if
know
I'm taking
half fare was a thing until now. I'm not lying.
if I am taking the long way, I should be getting like the full fare Metro card, so I don't have to deal with any of this select bus bullshit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Also, like one of the fucked up things is that like sometimes their school trips would end after 8:00, right? Like
And
they
that's
would
when
go.
the student
that's-
fare Metro card shut down.
Yeah, the student fare Metro cards end after 8:00, and there was a 30-minute grace period, so technically up until 8:30, 9:00, depending on the day. But after that, it's considered not valid now, so you resort to hopping if you have to.
Yeah.
I didn't hop that,
Basically.
but like I remember one.
I hopped once, and I recall like a cop being there at the station, and he wrote me down.
Oh,
Bruh.
That was bullshit.
bullshit.
I mean, it gave him a fake name,
Bullshit.
but like the bullshit part is that I wasn't even hopping that often, and it happened near the station at the station near my school, and it was with a plainclothes cop.
Yeah.
The dude was waiting there in front of the station for kids. Like, yo, for a fact, you like the bullshit is he's waiting for kids. Like, how? Come on. What are you like?
Most of them have
Yeah,
student
wait.
Metro cards too.
Who's
so-
getting hurt? Like, what bottom line am I hurting if I already have a pay for Metro card?
Right?
Listen, man, I really need my 50th arrest this week for that raise.
But sir, I'm not 18. I didn't ask.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
I know
Your
that
skin
also
tone
well.
tells me everything.
I had friends that were also the same thing happened to them, and the next day they were called into the principal's office. The principal would always obviously stand by the student and just be like, "Come on, man, are you really gonna arrest this kid just because he decided?"
God, yeah, I remember that. I remember
Because he
Isaac
couldn't
telling
afford
me
it.
about that.
Yeah, just because he decided to hop, like it's the MTA's
so
fault for
dumb,
not
like,
giving him the.
I feel like this is why, cops are pigs for starters, but like I never understood why cops would stop literal high schoolers if they hopped. I'm like, bro, they're high schoolers. They
They
always
didn't
get it
just
for
stop
free.
you. They didn't just stop you. They would write you down, and if you were 18, they had the legal rights to put you.
Well, no, but, like,
under
I'm saying,
restraint.
like, if you're like 16, like high school age and all that, like it's so dumb because it's
Yeah.
like if they get in for free regardless, student Metro cards. So what's the point? Like, what if they just they accidentally left their Metro card at home? Like, what do you want them to do?
That's literally
not
what
look-
happened to me, Drew, and they don't care. They will write you down. Like it's
Yeah,
dumb,
that's why
but they don't
that's
care.
why it's like what I said earlier. All cops are pigs because it's like
I left
wow.
mine at home. I wasn't even hopping to hop. I had to get home. As dude's
Yeah.
like, what were you doing? I was going home, sir.
Yeah, I
It's like,
remember I was coming
it's
home from a
dumb.
field trip, and like these cops are they're about to run after me. I remember because my card was, I didn't have my card, but it was already after 9, so I had to go. And this was after coming home from a field trip, and then they were like walking in my direction. I just ran to my train. Thankfully, the train was there, so I just got on the train, and I was like, okay, I just avoided that. There was another
Bullshit.
time.
It's just bullshit. It's not even like Eric. It is just bullshit. That's it.
I remember there was another
Yeah,
time. I
it's
think it was
stupid.
Regents Week too. Like, so there was no school, but like I was coming home from school and I got on the bus, and the guy, the MTA guy, like the bus driver, stopped the bus with people on it, told everyone to get off except for me, and he said, "I'm gonna wait for the cop to get here and report you." And I'm like, are you serious? I'm 17, man. Like, are you
Like
serious?
I'm still in high school. Like I'm supposed to get in for free because I have a
And then-
Metro card.
And obviously,
Yeah.
at that point, the police obviously took his side, but then he gave me a warning. He just said, "Look, I'm gonna let you off because."
Warning for what, motherfucker?
I'm
It's
just
like,
like,
oh
dude,
man,
dude,
you
I was-
hopped a bus.
I
What
was,
a
you know
what
why
a
I got,
vigilante.
you know what? I got on from the back only because the bus was about to leave. That's the only literal reason because I was
So
in a
you were
rush. I was
literally
running.
about to pay the fare anyway.
Yeah, I was about to, and I had my Metro card. It's just I was running to get on the bus, but like,
Piece of shit.
yeah, that guy just decided that he wanted to like have a he had a huge boner to get rid of kids that like didn't pay the fare.
That's such a huge fucking like disturbance to like and disruption to the whole service.
Yeah, and like I mean, and the thing is, like, there was literally 3 stops. There were like this was on the BX15, and it was coming from St. Barnabas, so it was literally 3 stops away from Fordham Plaza, and I'm just like, I was trying to catch this bus. It was the only like the thing is like, from what I was following the bus on my phone from where I was, and it was like the first bus that had come in like an hour. And the thing is that I was running to catch it because it after having waited like an hour and a half to catch it, I was not going to wait to like not get on that bus. You know, I could have easily walked it. I've walked that distance before, but you know, if there's a bus that'll get me there much sooner, so I can get home much sooner and do homework, I'll take it. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, that was the kind of shitty part about that. There was a lot of like fucked up things about going to high school in New York City, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck the NYPD, honestly.
Yeah.
Cops and like bootlickers really are just a separate species at this point. They genuinely, I thought they were just plain evil. It's like, no, they genuinely just have this weird sort of thinking where they think it's them versus literally everyone else. And it's like, wow, y'all are demented at this point.
They are.
Because I've seen, like, the thing that happened with you, the thing that happened with Isaac, I've seen that happen before. Even these days, I sometimes see it, like, retweeted on social media, like, a vid of someone taping a cop, like, harassing a high schooler for hopping. And the high schooler's trying to explain, it's like, I literally get in for free. It's just that I forgot my student Metro card, and the cop still wasn't having it. It's like, are you stupid?
Yeah, and there was our close friend also, who has been featured on the channel. I'm not gonna name her right now, but yeah, I mean he did similar things. He actually had to spend a whole night in jail too. So like, yeah, that was, I mean, that's really fucked up, to be honest.
It's not even like, that's the whole thing that I don't get is that that's not even much of an offense. It's like, oh man, the city lost 250 that day. Oh, woe is me. Clearly this requires locking the person up.
250, no.
Do you
It's
guys
like,
remember
man.
last year, they like, there were a lot of protesters about that, and they like glued up the
It's not even the city, bro.
turnstiles
It's
and everything.
ETA, period.
Yeah, remember they
private-owned company,
they glued the turnstiles and like broke down and everything, and like they destroyed the machines and hopped en masse, like all together. They hopped the turnstile and everything. There were people holding open the gates and everything. Like it was really, I mean, it was really cool to see. And then they got the riot police and the riot gear and everything again, and
because clearly hopping is such a crime.
What a riot.
It's like, oh man, rapists and murderers and all that, that's nothing. People hopping, that's the real crime.
Do you guys remember that news piece where that literal like bitch who just was like, why did you hop today?
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to take her microphone and throw it onto the tracks. I was really hoping someone did that.
There was that one guy that wanted to, and then like he was like very and she was like, don't touch me, and I'm like, no, your mic deserves to be thrown into the
Also, I'm pretty sure she needs like jurisdiction to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, she does.
And she definitely did.
You're not even supposed to be filming in the subway under normal circumstances.
Yeah, like you need like permission for that, and I guarantee you, she did not get permission.
This, yeah.
Yeah, every time I remember every time I tried to film any video in like the subway, there was always somebody watching me. Because they're scared that like somebody's gonna like perform some sort of bad action, criminal action against the subway system. Wow, poor subway system.
It's like, oh yeah, what a crime. But yeah, anyway, I was gonna mention earlier. By the way, for anyone listening, if your parent is a cop, they should feel bad. But
damn.
But
that's true.
To go back to something I wanted to say earlier, Isaac, when you mentioned this, like how we would wake up early, that was something honest to God, I don't understand anymore. Because like for 4 years, all of us were waking up early, like 6, 7 a.m. to go to school nearly every day. Nowadays, I get up at like 10 or 11, and I'm like, how the fuck did I wake up that early all the time in
How the
high
fuck
school?
is that even possible?
I question my my resilience to that from that period of time.
Yeah, dude, I would have trouble just like sometimes I would have trouble getting up too, because especially if it was in the middle of winter, and you know, like those winter nights in New York, how they're cold.
Yeah, they're really cold.
It's just like I just want to stay in bed underneath my blanket where it's warm. I do not want to go to school.
Dude, I remember sometimes some people wouldn't show up if it rains too hard.
Oh
like,
yeah,
school.
dude,
I
I
remember
remember that. Yeah, like you would like this is not a joke, but you could actually feel how like it's like the like the emptiness in the school compared to a regular day. If it rained or if it snowed, especially if it snowed, you'd be like, "Damn, where is everybody?"
Yeah, it was so quiet those days.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool.
I remember those days too. Yeah.
It was kind of cool if you were at school because, like, in our campus, like, we had a good, cool view of the city, especially since we were on the top floor, so we were able to look out the windows all the time. So it was kind of cool, like when it was like rainy and all that, because we could look out into the city and all that. And that's like a very atmospheric, aesthetic,
it's a vibe.
in my opinion. So I always liked it. But like, yeah, a lot of people would not show up if it rained really hard, if it snowed a bit. And I remember especially our history teacher from freshman year would get angry about that. Like the next day when they showed up and he asked, "Why weren't you in school yesterday?" And they was like, "It rained."
It rained.
And then he's like, "That's not an excuse."
That's not an excuse. Yeah. And then you'd see people on Facebook be like, "Yo, what was the homework?"
Yo, deadass.
You wouldn't even like at anybody on Facebook be like, "Yo, what was the homework?" And you see like 2 comments. One like.
There was these days where like they should have closed down the schools because of their snow day, right?
There were
they didn't.
snow days that were enough
Fucking
that I felt
Bloomberg.
they should have closed. Yeah.
And I still made my ass go all the way there. And when I got there, there was no classes. I mean, like we all were there, and but nobody was doing work because it was like almost like a free day. Like we were watching movies and hanging out, and I'm just like this was a regular day in February where like I made my way all the way to school. At the time, I was also prepping for the musical, and the show day was like a week away. So at the same time, I kind of had to be there. So that was really all I was going for. I wasn't really going for the school part, but the school part was I don't know. They should have closed it down that day, but when I got there, like they didn't obviously take attendance, or rather they took attendance of who was there, and then they were just like, well, if you made it, then like cool, but like we're also not really going to count it against you. We just want to know who's here.
So obviously, with what I was talking about earlier, those snow days when people decided not to show up, a lot of the time, there wasn't much snow. They just kind of felt like, it's snowing a bit, so I'm staying home. But there were some days where it genuinely did snow a fair amount, to the point where I'm like, bro, how is school not closed? And then when you get to school, it's half the class is missing. So it's like the teacher can't do his plan for the day.
And
so
some of them would
a
just
free day.
Some of them would just like teach like as if everyone was there. It'd be like a normal day. Some of them
people
would
teach,
some of them would be killed. Sorry. Yeah, they would teach and it'd just be like a normal day. Some of them would chill. They would just be like, all right, guys, like obviously, just here's the homework. Just do the homework. Or like do what you want. Like do some other work in class. You could take a nap. But other teachers would be like, all right, and as we left off last time.
He said I felt like half the class missing.
It's like, Mr.
And they're just like, well, it's their
There's only 3 people here. I know.
And it's like, I remember I had, like, one of my classes was maybe like 10 people. And on the day of the snow day, it was only like 2 people. But then the teacher was like, nah, let's keep going. You know, they can catch up. I'm like, what? What? What do you mean? And then
that's why when you get home, like not even before you get home, you see like on Facebook posted 11:30.
And you know
what was the homework?
You know what was fucked up was like some teachers would be like, well, we're gonna have a pop quiz. You guys are the only people that know because you guys are here. So, and I'm just like, what?
That's so messed up.
And then the next day they come in and everything is fine. And then the teacher's like, all right, pop quiz. Those of you who came yesterday knew about it. And all 15 or 20 people are like, huh?
What? Well, all 15 or 20
like,
people were like that SpongeBob meme.
Yeah. There, and the thing is, it'd be about the things that were talked about that day. So it was like, oh, that's not fucked up at all. But yeah, that was interesting. Thankfully, there weren't too many of those teachers like that at my high school. Most people were pretty like understanding. They're just like, well, there's nobody here, so it's kind of don't burn down the school. That's all we can do, right?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I pretty much almost went to school with arsonists. Anyways, I guess the
Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Isaac, do you remember that one day in freshman year when the one trains were really bad and we were waiting forever at like 168th?
I still remember that day, dude. Like that day is burned in my mind.
Yeah, seriously. We missed a whole period that day. And I think I had gym first period that day, and as I got to school, my other classmates just finished gym, so I ran into them, and they were like, "Where the fuck were you?" Like the train, like Lawrence, the train, bro, the train.
Yeah, that train. We got fucked.
So, I guess I want to start talking about this because I feel like we could save the rest of the PS5 stuff to the end. But Eric, do you want to go ahead and start talking about your topic for today?
What topic?
RPGs.
What RPG?
You know.
No what?
You know exactly what we're talking about, man. Oh my god.
All right. So this, I don't know why Lawrence felt the need to make this a topic. It was just
it's something important.
What?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So like, in a group chat with me, Lawrence, and Ray, I randomly started talking. I showed up. I posted a Pokemon Gen 4 meme, and I posted it because I'm like, memes like this make me realize how little I know about the game mechanics of Pokemon, because it's one of those memes that you would only recognize, like you would only find funny if you were in depth with Pokemon mechanics.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. So I posted this like, I don't know what the hell this is like referencing in regards to Gen 4. And then I started talking about like the reason I don't know what it's referencing is because for me, like with Pokemon, I'm not even lying here. I know this might be crazy, but to this day, I still don't completely understand how IV and EV stuff work. And to this day, I don't really bother with it. And I don't bother with like going for the best catch for Pokemon. Usually like the first Pokemon I catch that I want, I'll use it. Like even if it doesn't have the best stats, I'll use it because I don't even bother. And I do other stuff that some people might cringe at. Like I always just use offensive moves. I never put like debuff or buff moves on my roster. And I know for a fact in online play those are essential. But for me, I'm just like, never. It's always offensive moves. And it made me start thinking, it's like, why do I never bother like going more in depth with this stuff? And I think the reason is because Pokemon never really like encourages you to do so. It's usually like of your own volition if you want to go that in depth with it. And when I started thinking about it that way, it made me realize the reason I've been so like out of the, I guess I don't know how to word it, but the reason I haven't been as interested with Pokemon the past few gens is because of that. Because the game doesn't really encourage me to even go that far. Like all the shit that I talked about, like catching and using the first Pokemon I see, even if it doesn't have the best stats. Always putting on offensive moves, never bothering with IV and EV stuff. I never look into that, and I still never run into any problems with Pokemon. Like, I never once feel I get to a point where I'm like, wow, this is like ramping up. This is really hard. It's like always easy, which is why I never bothered with like the more in-depth stuff. Because one, the game doesn't encourage me, and two, I don't need it. So what's the point of even doing it if I don't need it? I can still beat the game just fine. And when I realized all that, it made me think I think that's why the past few gens I haven't been as interested with Pokemon as I used to, because I like RPGs and games in general that encourage me to like go as in-depth as possible and do other things. Like, I like RPGs that actually have like a difficulty curve and a ramp up and such.
You gotta work really hard and think cleverly.
Yeah. And I don't think Pokemon really does that, which is why I'm not as illusioned with it as other RPGs. And I sort of talked about it with Lawrence and Ray, and I gave like my whole side of it. But I also want to stress that my side in regards to this, because yeah, I think that is a problem with Pokemon, full stop. I don't know why it's so babified. I mean, I know that like the big argument is that it's a series meant primarily for kids, and I agree that that's definitely the primary demographic. But I feel like that's not entirely true, because here's the thing. Pokemon, even to this day, has so much nostalgia pandering, especially for Gen 1. And the thing is, the only people that will, the only base that type of pandering will appeal to is the people who grew up with those early gens. It won't work for like kids who got into Pokemon later on. Like a kid who got into Pokemon in Gen 5 or 6, for example, they don't even know why the whole Gen 1 they don't even know the whole Gen 1 pandering exists because they weren't around. So my argument with the whole like, oh, well, it's meant for kids, it's like, that's not entirely true, because they're pandering to people that clearly are not kids. Because at this point, if you were around during like Gen 1, Gen 2, you're not a kid. You're like a young adult at this point. And they're clearly trying to appeal to that crowd too. So I don't think it's entirely truthful to say it's just for kids at this point. Like, they know they have young adults playing this stuff too. But like, I was wondering what everyone else thought in regards to this. Because I think it is a problem, but I do want to stress that I don't think I'm like telling the objective truth here. Because the thing with Pokemon is that I know plenty of people who are perfectly happy with the way the game is. And I don't think there's anything wrong in feeling that way at all. Like, I have friends who are like, I don't really mind that the game is so easy and has no real difficulty, because I usually get that from online. And I think that's totally fair. And other times I've met people who are like, I don't really play online, but I also still don't really care about the easy difficulty. I just still have fun with it. I still like, catching Pokemon and raising teams and breeding and all that stuff. And I think that's totally fine too. Like, I don't think one side is in the right. Like, I'm not saying the crowd who thinks Pokemon is way too easy these days is right, and the crowd who is okay with it is wrong. It's not black and white. It's very much like a whole gray area, and I was wondering how everyone else felt in regards to this.
Yeah, so personally, like I mentioned before, Henry, for example, is a huge, like, he actually does understand all the EVs and IVs, and he will breed a Pokemon until it has 6 IV stats that he wants and or 6 EVs that he wants. And the only time that I ever had to really worry about that was when I was climbing the battle tree in Sumo, because I really wanted some of the Z crystals. Because some of them, that's the only way you could get some of the really rare Z crystals, is you had to use the battle tree. And so I would go, and also that was the way you could get Mac Revives, by the way, which was really cool. So sometimes if I wanted to go and face the Elite Four again, I would go through that entire thing just so I can get the max revives and all that. But it was kind of cool, just kind of getting a little bit of an understanding, and there in that case, like that is the competitive way because you're allowed 3 Pokemon and you're allowed to like really hone in. So like one of the things that you had to do, like one of the strategies was to use one of those moves that raises your evasiveness, and you raise it until it pretty much can't go any higher, and you keep doing that, and then once you do that, you like go ahead and attack them until like they can't, because pretty much every time that they attack you, it's gonna miss because your evasiveness is really high, and so you attack them until they're done, and then you can pretty much loop this entire thing maybe 3 or 4 times. And every time, like for example, if they use a move that requires another Pokemon to come out instead, like you have like those backups, those alternatives. But like one Pokemon is driving the entire battle. I think in this case it was one of those like what are they called? Sacred Beasts or something like that.
From Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, what are they called?
Ultra Beast.
Ultra Beast. There we go.
Sacred Beasts.
The hour is upon us.
The hour is upon us. Our allies have been notified.
That's not how it went.
What is it? Our allies have been
Tested.
Oh, our allies have been tested. But
All right,
yeah.
it's fine. Just move on. Just move on.
So that was the only time I really ever cared about that stuff. And now, like, I'm playing through Persona 3, and, a lot of that stuff of me trying to remember all of the Pokemon stuff is not working out for me, to be honest with you. Because it requires a whole, like, different level of understanding of RPGs to really, like, I guess, and you're right. It doesn't really take much work anymore to play Pokemon, and it in some ways it's detrimental.
That's why that series is basically been seen as Babby's first RPG at this point.
Yeah, and it's detrimental if somebody who wants to play more RPGs like me, and it might have even contributed to why I don't really like RPGs like as much as I like some other games, is because like when you're playing when I'm playing something like Pokemon, it feels brain dead. It like I just click a bunch of buttons and just keep going, and oh wow, I caught a shiny. That's cool. Like that.
Press A to win.
Press A to win. Just keep pressing A, and then when you're trying to catch a Pokemon, press A and B rapidly as if that's going to do something, but it's not.
I always believed that. I
still do it. It's just I force a habit. And then there was like this. I started playing Persona 3, and I was like, wow, the first half, before the first full moon boss, everything is like pretty easy generally. Like there's not like I found myself cruising through that part of the game, and then as soon as I got to the second area, the second block, everything was suddenly elevated in difficulty for me because I'd cruised pretty much using a lot of the Pokemon rules pretty much through the first block of the game, but through the second half when I tried to use those same exact skills, it didn't work because all the enemies are tougher and they are smarter and they're more aggressive. And so if you're using those same tactics, you're going to lose. And definitely my team took a huge hit to the point where it was, I think, me and Junpei were the only 2 people left exploring the second block. And then we were just like, okay, I think it's time for me to go back home. Because the other 2 had died and I didn't have anything to resurrect them with. Obviously, I just became tired, so I just went home. But like, see, that's the kind of thing. Is just like my moves weren't like my attacks weren't really all that like damaging on a lot of these enemies for some of my personas, and so it was like it was tough. And my weapon wasn't great, but my allies, their weapons were great, and mine was just like my weapon is nothing. And so I was using those same exact tactics. And it didn't work, and I'm like, it's getting better, as I'm starting to like really try and understand the like strategy behind playing this like that game, because I'm trying to like get up. And by the way, Persona 4 came out recently on Steam.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that later, but we can.
Yeah. So no, I mean you can talk more about it, but I picked it up. Eric picked it up.
Don't you already have it on Vita?
Yeah, I have it on Vita. I'm still gonna probably play it on Vita because I like a portable, but like I have it on the PC.
I mean, I don't know why I'm saying that because I also already had it on Vita. But,
well, I'm just
well, it's also really cheap on Steam. Like for the deluxe edition, it's $25.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and I'm just like,
yeah,
you might as well throw some money to Atlas at this point. You know, I'm hoping eventually I'm gonna get P5 Royal, but like even though I already have Persona 5 on my PS4.
Dude, you got the PS5 this early?
God damn it.
Yo, Lawrence, is it backwards compatible?
Stop.
Is it backwards compatible with PS3 2-in-1?
Oh my god. I got it. The PS.
Is it?
I got Persona.
Is Persona 6 and 7 on it?
It actually hurts me now because like remember when I used to make that distinction, we used to always have this conversation about P5 and P4 and how P4 actually meant PS4 and P5 was Persona 5 or something like that. And then I remember Eric always used to be like P4 as in like Persona 4 and like no PS4 and
yeah, I remember.
Look, I get that people say that. Like my nephews say that. So like I get it, but in my head that will always be Persona 4 to me.
I know. And so
why would you say PS4 as P4 though? Like, yo, I got the P4.
I've never understood it cuz like that means you're saying play 4.
It's the same people who say you got 2K on P4? Yeah, because they're just trying to like because it, it's short. Anyways, so yeah, I have Persona 5 on PS4, and I had to breathe for a second because I couldn't even. I was about to do it again.
It's like going nuts right now.
It's like saying,
do it again.
You got that new game on XB? Like, just say Xbox. It's the same syllable.
XB.
Xbone. But yeah. So it's just the same exact thing. Just like even just like Okami or like. Or Psychonauts. They're such good games that I wouldn't mind owning them on different systems because maybe I might want to pick it up at some point. Just like Okami, I have it on Wii. I've been looking for it on PS2, even though like I don't play my PS2, but it's just like it is one of those games that you'd love to have on various systems. Same with Psychonauts. I'm pretty sure I have it on 360. I have it on PS2. I have it also on my my computer, and I would not mind having it anywhere else that I can have it because Psychonauts was a really good game. It's a shame that the second one is being mishandled right now. But yeah, so to go back to the RPGs thing, and I guess Eric can talk more about a lot of the other RPGs that actually require a little more skill than Pokemon. Besides, and also like with particular attention, we can talk a little bit about Kingdom Hearts because he talks about the Disney park attraction. You talk about the attraction moves and like those are the they are great ideas, but
I guess to further the whole discussion on it, like. And I guess to sort of reiterate what I said earlier, the reason why this whole topic is very black and white and there's no real right answers because let's be honest, it's okay if a game is easy. Honestly, like it's like easy games are allowed to exist. I don't want to be like that. Those crazy people like say when Sekiro came out, and they're like, you cheated the game. You cheated not only the game, you cheated yourself. And it's like, bro, relax. It's just a video game. That response, just because like people looked shit up in Sekiro, or because people were asking for an easy mode, and it's like, bro, like I get that, like it's up to the devs. If devs don't want to do an easy mode, that's fine. But if they ever considered it, then I think that's also fine. Like I don't know why you're so adamantly against it, because in a game like that, you can just not play easy mode and it's fine. But so, like, yeah, like, there's no right or wrong answering on this, and I sort of, like, and the reason why I bring up the whole, like, it's okay for a game to be easy and all that is, like, because, for example, at least for me, Persona games are relatively easy after like the first 1 or 2 dungeons for me, because I've played them so much. So like they're a breeze after the first or second dungeon. But even then, like, it's not like the game's bad just because the game kind of got easy at that point. Like, it's still enjoyable because of a lot of the other things, like the characters or the story or whatever. Like, there's multiple layers to a game sometimes. Pokemon, I mean, like, let's face it, 99% of the game is like the battling and the training and all that. And when it's so simple, I mean, there's not much else you can look past. I mean, obviously, like, Pokemon games have great art, great music, and the characters are usually really cool and really well designed. Like, I'll always praise that. The thing with that, though, is that you don't need to play the game to praise that. You can just look up art on the internet and you're fine.
Yeah.
But there's not much else you can look at in regards to Pokemon if, like, the battling isn't all that in depth, because there's not much else to Pokemon. Like, occasionally they have a story, and sometimes it's pretty cool. Like in Gen 5, I thought the story there was actually really neat. But for the most part, there's not much you can really look towards past the battling. Whereas opposed to something like another easy game like Persona, there is a lot you can look past despite the battling and all that.
Yeah.
And like, some people would also say it's like, oh, well, I mean, it's sure you can get past the games, the Pokemon games, without delving into those more in-depth mechanics like IVs, EVs, and all that stuff. Like, you can choose to do so and all that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I sort of disagree there, because I bring up, say, the example. This is obviously not a complete one-to-one example, but for example, I don't know how many times I said that word past like 5 seconds, but like Kingdom Hearts 3, a really fun game in my opinion. I know some people weren't crazy about it, but I had a lot of fun with it. I actually still plan on doing a critical run eventually and doing the Remind DLC, because I bought it, but I haven't played the DLC yet.
Yeah.
But with Kingdom Hearts 3, there was one of the additions to the combat in that game were Disney Park attraction ride moves that you can enable to, like, during combat, and they're actually like really well, like the look of them is super good and all that, and they do look like the Disney Park attraction rides. Like, they got that down really well. But the problem with that mechanic is that it makes the game unbelievably easy, because they pop up all the time. It felt like nearly every battle you were allowed to bring up a Disney Park attraction ride. And to boot, they're super powerful. Like, nearly all of them could wipe out so many Heartless when you're playing. So it made the combat so trivial, to the point where it's like, where me and a lot of other people were like, I'm just not going to use these because they kind of make the game a joke. And it's the sort of thing with Pokemon there. It's like, well, you could choose to go with the in-depth mechanics. Like, just because the game doesn't encourage you to do so doesn't mean it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's sort of like with Kingdom Hearts 3 with the example I just brought up. It's like, yes, you can just choose to ignore the Disney Park attraction rides. It's still a flaw nonetheless, because it's built into the game. Like, it's there. I can ignore it, but that's not, like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, I can ignore the Disney Park attraction rides, but I still feel it's a flaw in the game, because it's in the game, and it's a really easy, cheesy way to beat it, and it comes up so often. You have to go out of your way to ignore it. And it's sort of like with Pokemon, it's like, yeah, you can choose to do so if you want, but the fact that the game never really requires you to get better at it, it just kind of defeats that point. It's like, it's like the Disney Park thing, basically. I rambled a bit there, but I hope I sort of got my point across. Like, I guess to give a good example of games that do encourage you to try to get better at it, I look at something like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. Action games like those, they really do encourage you to try and, like, try out different combos, see what works for you, try and do better to get more stylish combos out, to get higher scores and all that.
Yeah. It's funny, every time I play, like, the one time we played Devil May Cry at that Micro Center in Boston,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow.
Oh, I remember that.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And I remembered, I'm like, wait a minute, I still have Bayonetta on my Switch. I still haven't played it yet, but like, I remember looking at a lot of gameplay, and I'm like, wow, Bayonetta is also like one of those like cool like hack and slash kind of games that I enjoy. And I'm pretty, as far as I remember, Kingdom Hearts also has like a very similar like gameplay mechanic too.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts are action games as well, basically, and they're really fun, really well designed action games. Like, well, more so like Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, I'd say.
Right.
But yeah.
So eventually I plan to play those, but like, I guess one thing that like I also want to talk about with regards to what you're saying is that like, let's look at the example of Fire Emblem, right? We were talking about this a little bit before the show, but if you play through the regular difficulty of the game, like the easy difficulty, it is almost brain dead, very similar to how it feels when you're playing Pokemon. Me, as a person who has played Awakening, one of the best games in the series, arguably, using the easy mechanic, can say that throughout the battle sequences, I didn't really feel challenged. Sometimes I did, but not really at all. I didn't feel challenged all that much. It was mostly, I think, during like boss fights, because like my team wasn't really all that leveled up, so like really like it was kind of a struggle. But
the thing with Fire Emblem though, and I know a lot of people did this, is if you lost a unit, so many people, including me, would restart the battle.
Yeah,
that's
and
what I always did.
That's why when I started playing Awakening,
that's okay, because that's literally been a mainstay in the series for forever, and loads of people do that because they know some people are going to be super attached to all of their units. So if one of them dies, they know some people will immediately restart. So they built that in as like a really quick way to restart.
Yeah.
Because like if they didn't have that, people would still restart. It would just take longer because they'd have to exit out of the entire game and then load it up on like the OS of the system or whatever. So like something like that I feel is really justified, as opposed to like the Kingdom Hearts 3 thing where it's like it's a game mechanic that is built in. I can ignore it, but I feel like it still should be criticized because it shows up all the time and it rewards you. It's no effort basically at all.
Yeah.
It's not like Fire Emblem thing where it's like it's a deliberate choice that I think works, honestly, because it's basically just saving the player time if they choose to restart the battle.
Yeah, and so I remember like when I was playing Birth Quest.
Birth Quest, nice way to combine the two games there.
Oh, wait, it's not Birth Quest?
Quest. It's Birthright and Conquest.
Oh.
Birth Quest. This is the new Moon Rock. Birth Quest.
2K. That's our Lawrence mess up for the episode.
What's your favorite Fire Emblem game? Birth Quest. Bro, what?
Birthright and Conquest.
The ultimate crossover, clearly.
When I'm playing through Birthright and Conquest.
You were about to say it again.
You were about to say it again. Yep, he really was.
You took that space in between.
I was about to play Birthright
and Conquest. I did start using the harder difficulty just because like I didn't want to be a cinnamon roll, I guess. I actually did want to feel a little challenged more. And yes, I felt the exact thing where like I had to reset every few minutes, like to get the to get the game like to make sure I didn't lose any of my units. I think I got maybe 10 chapters in before I could
trying out hard mode. The thing with Fire Emblem, I feel like some of the harder difficulties are pretty justified, except the final difficulty, which I forgot what it's called, like Insanity or whatever. That difficulty, I'm sorry. I know I haven't played that many Fire Emblem games in the series. I'll admit that. I've played Awakening, Fates. I started 30 Houses. I need to go back to it. And I played a fair amount of Fire Emblem 7.
Did you play Echoes?
Oh, yeah, and Echo. Sorry. I forgot about that one for a second. I played all of that, too. But, I know I haven't played that many games in the series, but at least in like the newer games, the hardest difficulty feels like it's made for masochists. I am not kidding here. I tried one. I opened up a new file with the hardest difficulty, and I'm like, I got this. This will be fine. It won't be too bad. First enemy critted me, and I died. And I'm like, all right, how? Really? Like, it's a regular ass bandit. It's a no-named NPC that killed me. This feels very unbalanced to me. But maybe that's just a problem with the most recent Fire Emblem games. Maybe the older ones didn't have that issue, but I that's what I found with like Awakening and stuff, where it's like hard mode. That's totally justified. I think fucking Insanity or like the whatever the last difficulty is called. Don't play it unless you hate yourself.
That's a good way to put it.
Unless you love getting like stepped onto your balls, then yeah, play it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
so eventually I plan to go back and finish those games, because admittedly, not even just because I love Corrin, but because like I really want to just experience that story, because I mean, it's a good story. It's unfortunate how much like that game didn't really like. Everyone remembers Awakening, but I feel like not a lot of people tend to remember Fates as much.
Well, I feel like Awakening had a decent story, and I really like the cast in Awakening. With Fates, I think the story as a whole is pretty bad, honestly. But I did genuinely like some of the characters.
Yeah, I mean,
Fates.
I think also that came into existence with the whole like, you know, we have Birthright, Conquest, and a Resurrection. Like, I mean,
Revelations.
Sorry,
Resurrection.
And
Alien Revelations and Fire Emblem Fates Resurrection.
There is Valencia too, Shadows of Valencia.
By the way,
there's like, and you know the new mechanics of like Shadows of Valencia. I mean, that was a really good like. I mean, I don't know. 3D movement was really cool. Like,
oh right, because Shadows of Valencia had dungeons. That's
yeah, that was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I really like Shadows of Valencia. I feel
think
like
it's underrated.
Not as many people talk about it because the thing with Shadows of Valencia, it's a remake of the second Fire Emblem game. So a fair amount of its mechanics, because they try to stay as true to the original game as much as possible.
Yeah,
and that's both a gift and a curse because the mechanics in Fire Emblem 2 are insanely outdated. So certain things like the dungeon or the maps, the map designs are not great in.
What about the weapon triangle? Is that no?
The weapon triangle isn't even in it because Fire Emblem 2 didn't have it. But yeah, so like certain aspects of the game really are like really outdated because they stuck to the formula of the original. But in a lot of other ways, I really liked that game. Like I really liked the dungeons. I liked the art in that game is fantastic. That artist that they got to do the art in that game and all the characters, I wish they kept him for like Three Houses low key. Like I like a lot of the art in Three Houses, but I wish they kept the guy from Echoes, or at the very least, like I say this to a lot of my friends who I talk about Fire Emblem with. Yeah. I think they should make Fire Emblem Echoes a sub-series of remakes. Where it's like remake Path of Radiance, for example. Call it like Fire Emblem Echoes, fucking something related to Path of Radiance. I don't know, I haven't played it. And then get that artist back because his art is incredible. I love the way he draws like the armor and the characters' hairs and stuff. Like it looks really nice, especially because in that game I really don't feel like anyone is really, I guess, sexualized and horny when it comes to their designs. Because like as much as I love some of the Fate's characters, some of the designs like the Nord armor design for females is ridiculous. Like they literally just have their panties out, and I'm like, bro, you're on the battlefield. What are you doing? This is no time to have panties on just with your armor. It looked so odd. But with Shadows of Valencia, at least in my opinion, I thought both the men and the women looked really, really attractive and barely showed that much skin. Like a lot of them had full armor and everything, and they still looked really, really good looking. So I thought that was super cool. The voice acting in that game is great, and I like the story for the most part. It has some issues because of how dated it is, but yeah, I think Shadows of Valencia was really good. I had a fun time playing, and I wish more people played it.
Yeah, I agree too. I wanted to like I really wanted to just like figure out kind of where things are going with like with Fire Emblem, and I'm glad the Three Houses got the press that it did. What was the name of the fifth the game that the Game Boy Advance game I have? Was that the fifth one?
Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance game?
Yeah, the one that you played.
Well, there were only 3 GBA ones, although one of them never came to the West.
It was the one that you played on my DS.
Oh, that's Sacred Stones.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Fire Emblem 8. Fire Emblem 6 was the first GBA one, and that was Roy's game, but that only came out in Japan. Fire Emblem 7 was Lynn's game, along with Eliwood and Hector, and that was the first localized Fire Emblem game. And then Fire Emblem 8 was Sacred Stones.
Yo, when's our next Fates night?
Oh my god. Yeah, when are we bringing that back?
Yeah,
that 4-year-old thing back.
When are we bringing Fates night back? We're excited. After where did we stop? Chapter 2?
Yeah, chapter 2, and then we never did it again.
Yeah.
Guys, I just found out who my favorite character is. Who's the name of his favorite character?
Who? Lawrence?
Yeah, he had like, he's like, oh yeah, I love this person, and Lawrence and Ray's was like,
Rinka.
Rinka.
He's like Ray, 'cause he's like Ray. You like chocolate girls?
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
I liked Frederick. Okay.
No, dude,
That's from Awakening.
What?
He's not in.
I know it's not from the same game. And I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan. I haven't caught up, but like, all right, yeah. Ray's favorite character was Rinka. I forgot what Lawrence's favorite character was, but after like 2 chapters in the game, he's like, oh my god, guys, I love her. Let's do Fates Night next week. Never happened.
Never happened.
Birth Quest, man.
Rip.
You missed it.
You missed it.
By the way, if you guys want to donate like your Fire Emblem Fates
special edition,
let me know.
Cartridge.
Special edition, yeah. Your boy needs to finish the game.
So you missed Birth Quest.
He bugs Lawrence about that all the time. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Lawrence, when are you going to give it to me?
Never.
Oh my god.
Don't say that, Eric.
It has Corrin in it. Of course he's not going to give it up.
He hasn't even beat the game.
That's not wrong.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to tease you guys about it, but yeah, that was a thing. Fates Night. Jesus.
Yeah. So
when did we even start that?
The year the game came out, which was I think 2016 or 17, something like that.
It was like 2017, I feel, because
Let me see.
I remember we were on the line, and that was after Nintendo
2015.
World.
Oh god.
2015? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Fuck.
Wow.
It was 5 years ago. And we never kept up with it. Fuck.
That was like the last big game like hype I remember seeing, because like I remember being on that line, and that line was hype.
Oh yeah, we were on that line for the special edition.
For like what?
Right, that was Pokemon Day too. I remember, or was it the reopening of Nintendo New York?
I think it was the
reopening because I remember what happened before that was like the store had Pokemon Day later.
Where is my special edition? Actually, let me see.
I still have mine, and
I should have
still
mine
wants
somewhere. Where is it? Let me
Special
see.
edition.
I know I have it here somewhere. I just hold on. Nope, not
I'll
in there.
buy it off you, Lawrence.
Oh yeah, there it is. I see it.
Where's my Fire Emblem Special Edition? Oh yeah, there it is.
Christ.
You guys, let me know if you guys like. I'll buy it off you. Just let me know when, like, what's your price?
Yeah, all right, cool.
Name your price.
$250.
$250, my friend. $2.
So, but yeah, I need to go and finish that up. I liked, I'm actually very disappointed that we couldn't get, like, there was no.
Hey, I forgot I have Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition.
I'm really disappointed that they didn't make it, like, I'm really disappointed that they didn't.
What? Jesus, spit it out.
That they didn't make it like an official thing. Like you get all 3 games on one cartridge. Like
because the thing is, wow, I spit so hard by talking that it's on my mirror. What was I gonna say? Right, so that game was split into 3 stories. Birthright. I almost said Birth Quest because of this fuck. Birthright, Conquest, and Revelations. The first 2 came out at launch, and Revelations was supposed to be a DLC campaign you can buy like 2 weeks later or whatever. Although they released a special edition cartridge that had all 3 in one cartridge. I wish that was the norm, honestly. Because I did not like the business model with that. Like, I know that if you bought one of the games, you can buy the other 2 at reduced prices. But I still would have rather just had, like, all of them in one cartridge.
Yeah. That's why I remember.
Why I'm glad I still have mine.
I remember I got so lucky. It had been sold out for weeks, and I really wanted. I was in college at the time, so like I couldn't really do it. I think I came down for one weekend or something like that, and I was there, and I met up with Caesar on the line for a Pokémon tournament. I don't know why he was on the line. I forget why he was on the line. I don't think he wanted Pokémon tournament. But he was there, and so I asked him to save a spot. And while I was online, I ended up meeting the winners of The Bachelor at the time, and Meghan Markle, who is now the Duchess of England. While I was on the line, it's kind of funny how that worked out. And so then we went to
hilarious.
And so then we went in, and then as soon as I got there, I saw one in the back. There was literally one box sitting on the back shelf at Nintendo New York, and I asked them, "Yo, is that for sale?" And then they were like, and then they were looking at it, and then they had to call the manager. "Is this for sale?" And then the manager was like, "Yeah." And then, "Yeah, it's for sale." And I'm like, "Put it in now." I asked them, I was like, "Please put that in my order now." And so like, I looked at my total and I'm like, holy shit, I just spent like $300 in one go. Or something like that. Yeah, but how much was it? Was it like $79 though, right? The cost of one? How much was the special edition? Was it $79
I think it was.
Or $99 or anyways, I spent like actually more like $120 or $150 that day because of that. And I got Pokémon Tournament like on the line right away. And I think I think I know what happened. I had already pre-ordered Pokémon Tournament, but I decided I was going to go get it from the actual store because they were giving out a limited edition print. I guess I cared about it really all that much. So like I think I gave my copy of Pokémon to either Henry or Caesar, and I sold it to them instead. Might have been Caesar. I'm not really sure. And then I just said, all right, it's fine. I'll just get this.
I was never interested in Pokémon.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I just said, I'll just get this copy from Nintendo New York. Oh, right, and I bought the controller. That's why I spent like $200 that weekend. Right. Because I bought the controller, which, by the way, I don't freaking use because I played the game and I used it, and then the game didn't really become the next biggest thing like they were saying it was going to be. So
it has a competitive
it's gonna
scene.
be this huge motherfucking shit.
Pokemon has a competitive scene. And
Yeah, I think it's
it does.
It made it to Evo.
I have a friend personally who is a competitive Pokemon player who made it to like several championships and he's won some.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And those games actually blow up more in Japan than they do in the US. Like if you're talking about popularity, because I think it has an arcade version now.
I think so.
I'm almost pretty sure they came with an arcade version, but
I think a lot of games these days in Japan at least get an arcade version eventually.
they do. And Pokemon has an arcade, and it got into Evo one year.
Oh yeah, I remember that year.
I will say though, Pokken definitely deserved better.
I wanted to before we move on to other things, I wanted to just kind of wrap up that discussion first on RPGs. I was curious about the Paper Mario I know like is
the
it
Paper
has,
Mario. You sound like a fucking boomer.
Paper Mario has like the like in 1,000-Year Door, and also I think was 64
$1,000
also.
shit. Oh my god.
It was like it was an RPG, but like how much was it like also very similar to Pokemon in that it kind of required like brain dead kind of strategy?
What?
Like the old Paper Mario game, even the more recent Paper Mario games, do they, and even Super Mario RPG, did it really require brain dead strategy, or was it like
Super Mario RPG?
What do you mean by brain dead? Like, so when you say brain dead strategy, what
It requires no skill.
Yeah, no skill.
No skill?
No skill and no real strategy, just kind of pressing buttons until you win.
To be honest, I didn't really. So after I clocked out after Super Paper Mario on the Wii, I didn't play the other ones, but I don't know about the other ones, but the 1,000-Year Door is a great game. Like, definitely get it.
Yeah,
if you haven't
that's
played
a really
it.
good game.
Yeah.
It's considered like the best Paper Mario game, and they're having like the games that came out later. They're not that great, but to answer your question, the older ones, no. The newer ones, I don't know.
Right. And so like I guess bouncing off that, like I mean, what can we expect? Do we think, like, I feel like there's a spectrum for RPGs, right? And I was telling Eric this earlier, but like, there's the babified like RPGs all the way on the left, and there's like harder RPGs like the Insanity mode or whatever it's called in like Fire Emblem all the way at the end, and you need to be really good at RPGs. And then there's like stuff like Kingdom Hearts somewhere along the middle, or like even like what's it called? Persona somewhere in the middle as well. Like it requires a little more strategy, a little more skill. And so I guess my question for you guys,
I guess for you it probably would because you're still new. But
yeah.
For me, who's like a veteran, it's nothing.
So for going towards the future, do we think RPGs are moving towards more of a skill-based approach, or like a more babified approach?
Well, no, I think in general, the RPGs are generally fine. It's just Pokemon is the clear outlier that like stuck to the babified design.
Yeah.
Honestly, because some RPGs are definitely harder than others. In general, they're fine in the state they're in right now. Pokemon is the outlier though, which is why there's that one meme of like the turtles and Splinter. Like the Splinter is Dragon Quest carrying the 4 turtles.
Oh, I know what meme you're talking about.
Yeah, Pokemon,
Yeah.
Persona,
Pokemon is
Xenoblade.
a baby turtle that doesn't grow up.
And then in the next screenshot, the turtles are all like helping Master Splinter because they've grown up, but the Pokemon turtle is the only one that's still a baby. It's like, I feel like that's generally how it is, right? Like the RPGs in this,
It hasn't been breaking new ground.
yeah, like RPGs in this day and age are totally fine.
Yeah.
Pokemon is like the one exception that's really that's still super babified. But like I said earlier,
I feel
that's
like
not
even like something like
not
sticker
necessarily
stars,
a bad thing.
or like something like Super Mario sticker stars, for example. I know we don't really talk about
not an
that.
RPG though.
No, there aren't they.
It's not.
The new Super
That's
You
the
Paper
big
Mario
haven't played
thing
it,
games.
and you don't know.
No,
That's
the
the-
new Paper Mario games.
What do you mean the
thing
new
with-
ones? The last
All
one
right,
that came
look,
out before now was
That's
like
the thing with the new Paper Mario
2018.
games. They're not RPGs. Like they're these
They're
weird
not.
sort of like
They're really not. They're kind of just like they're just meh. They're not even strategy games.
The 1,000-Year Door was the last real RPG,
Oh,
which is why I would not count something like Sticker Star. No one even likes
It
that.
definitely doesn't count. I count Super Paper Mario as the last RPG since it still had elements to it that was like RPG, but just didn't have the
I mean,
turn-based
that's
combat.
not really an RPG though. Because I mean, like
That's why I said, like,
that was more.
RPG
Super
elements, but
Paper
it's
Mario
not
was more of a
RPG.
platform.
No. It doesn't. It can't be considered full-on RPG. It had elements of it. It just didn't have things like turn-based combat.
Yeah,
it's sort
because
of
like Super
boring.
Paper Mario was more of
Action
like a
adventure.
regular platformer, action adventure
So-
sort of thing.
My first RPG ever was Grandia. I remember that being significant, like actually being significantly like difficult as a kid.
How long have we been going, by the way?
While now.
3 hours.
You never know.
All right, we should stop.
Yes.
Wrap up the podcast.
Let's just wrap it up with PS4 and that's it.
Yeah, PS5.
I feel like we should save
PS5.
that.
PS5.
So I think
I feel like we should save that.
We won't spend too much time.
so
There's a lot to talk about
well,
there, though.
so yeah, there is. So I guess we'll try and talk as much as we can, but like we won't go over 3.5 hours.
How about we just stop and then save it for next?
How about
Okay, we can do that too.
Jesus.
That's fine.
Lawrence is like, no, bro, let's
Why?
keep going, and then
Nah,
next
man,
thing
let's
you know,
keep
we're on
going.
a 5-hour podcast.
Okay, so I guess my first
That, like,
RPG ever when I was a kid was Grandia 2.
I've heard good things about Grandia. Never
it's-
played them though.
I'm really glad it came out on Switch because I'm eventually going to pick it up so I can relive that. But I remember as a kid that was significantly difficult for me because obviously I didn't even really know how to play a lot of video games that didn't involve just jumping on things and going and clicking on things.
Lawrence sees like on the title screen, press any button to continue.
Yeah, and
And
so
then he's like, any button turns the power button.
and so like you laugh, but that actually happened when I was a kid with some of
Are
these,
you
like,
fucking serious?
when I
Really?
was with
Turned
like
it off.
for example, I think what was it? There was a specific game. That's actually how I discovered one of the mini games that you can get in the Crash Spyro like crossovers because I think there was only one way to get it.
Oh god, those shitty that
Yeah.
crossover is so disappointing because it's literally just mini game collection.
Yeah, and so like there was one mini game that you could only get if you like I guess pressed a certain buttons or like you turned it off or turned it on in a certain way. And I guess I don't know what happened. I was just like, what happens if I turn it off? And then I turned it off and then I turned it back on and so I guess I pressed a combination of buttons and all of a sudden I got that weird mini game. It wasn't all that, by the way, so it wasn't really.
I mean, yeah, those games suck. The Spyro one especially.
So I think something I wanted to think about was just like I feel like back then, you know, that game like Grandia was like actually pretty difficult, and I wanted to ask this question: like, what about like something like Final Fantasy? Where would you put that?
I don't know if it's even a good idea to have this weird sort of scale you're trying to do.
Well, no, I'm just trying to think like
Because a lot of these RPGs have fundamental difference.
yeah.
So I don't know if you can really directly compare them this way.
No. I'm not like trying to compare like mechanics or anything like that, but I'm just trying to think like in terms of like how people perceive them, like in that way of like, oh yeah, so some of them are obviously very easy, and some of them are probably more difficult, and so it's like, you know, where would
I mean, it's a sub game, but Final Fantasy Tactics does demand some like attention from you. It's a strategy game. It's not a turn-based. It's not a traditional turn-based Final Fantasy. It's more of like a Fire Emblem sort of deal. But that game is fairly challenging. You do actually have to like really strategize when you play it. But you're rewarded with probably the best story in Final Fantasy.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, that's fair. What about you two, Ray and Isaac? What do you guys think in terms of like the future of RPGs?
The future.
About what?
You make it sound like they're in dire straits. Really?
Oh,
not.
what do you
We're
think?
about to
Yeah,
lose
really
you
not.
guys.
I mean, like what do you think they're headed?
I think
The same place they are right now, like in a good shape, because they're not dying, bro.
No, I'm not saying they are. I'm just like I just want to know what they're like, what they think. Go ahead.
I think RPGs are just gonna be just fine because I mean, granted, we've seen a good variety of RPGs come out, especially on the Switch, from different publishers and new like developers for pre-existing companies. And I mean, I haven't played many of them, but from the reviews and I guess first-person accounts that I've been seeing, there's not really been that much disappointment. In fact, if anything, there's been quite a variety. I do agree though that like I'm really hoping that the future of RPGs doesn't involve like, you know, I guess backtracking to like making sure that they're simplified for like a more general audience. I do think that like games like Pokemon, while they should definitely be for everyone, they should also just not be like so easy of a challenge. Like I do think challenge needs to go into these games, and these RPGs need to strike out with elements of their own. Because you know, Paper Mario is its own RPG. Like Super Mario RPG was its own kind of thing. All of these RPGs are unique in their own special way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have hope. Like I think it'll be good for the future of RPG. I mean, how we just had Final Fantasy VII remake come out, and like that's basically like an action oriented RPG, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a remake that is very different from the original game. Like it's going in many different directions. Gameplay is obviously a big part because it's not turn based anymore. It's more action oriented.
Right, and a game like that, like, you know, it existing isn't killing the legacy of the original game. Like, still play the original game right now on current platforms and
Yeah, like a
experience how it was back then.
Yeah,
And
like
then you get a new experience with the new game.
it's the same deal that I said with the Resident Evil 2 remake, where it's a very different vision for that version of Resi 2. But the good thing is, it's not like the old one its legacy is gone or whatever. It's still there. It's still worth playing even with the remake, and it's still readily available on many different systems. Because Resident Evil is like one of Capcom's biggest franchises. So you know you can play Resident Evil 2 remake, and you could still go back and play the original and still just enjoy it because it's still a fantastic game. And it's the same deal with Final Fantasy VII. Like, the remake is very, very different, but it doesn't like change the legacy of the original. It doesn't make the original obsolete in any way. It's still worth playing. I honestly would recommend people play the original first.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right.
That's really cool. So what about you, Isaac?
What about me, Lawrence?
The future of RPGs.
What about you?
The future of RPGs. What about or the future of RTS?
I don't know what the future of RPGs is. I guess like one day we'll just like shit. Pick your gender and fuck. I don't know.
Yo,
what?
You good? I swear to God, you were like using an accent there just now. What?
Future of RPGs. Let's see. No. I really don't know, man. You guys pretty much touched on everything. Like I'm gonna be honest and say like I'm not really the most knowledgeable person when it comes to RPGs. I just play the ones I like. Like, you know, I still fuck with Pokemon. Is the game perfect? Like Sword and Shield? No. Is it fun? Yeah. And you know, Isle of Armor DLC just came out. I mean, I like Pokemon. I like Fire Emblem. I like Final Fantasy. I don't know what the future holds. I really hope that, you know, I just prefer that a lot of these people that, you know, I hope that people keep an open mind. That's all. Because when you're a fan of something, not just games, but like movies too, and I get it, like, you know, shit gets, you know, new games come out and it doesn't feel the same, then it doesn't, you know, it doesn't come out the way you want it. So people should just have more open minds. Don't just get used to like the same stale stuff. And if something is trash or not good, like if a company puts out a game that definitely doesn't feel like worth $60 or worth your money, then, you know, be honest or be open to the feedback. Don't defend them. Have an open mind, and you know, definitely like be open minded. I guess one cool thing would be, let me see. I can't wait for Paper Mario to come back. Like I'm excited because it looks like it's going to be good. I don't know if is it going to be good? I don't know. I'm honestly waiting for them to. I mean, to be honest, I really hope they make like a better Pokemon. No, I'm waiting for a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Pokemon. So Pokemon in the style of Breath of the Wild.
I feel like that'll never happen,
really
and I don't know if that'll work.
What I want. I want it. I don't like. Look, that's what I want. That's what I was hoping we'd get. Sword and Shield is not that, but like, hey, like that's what I want. I would love okay, so future of RPGs. Yo, Sony, you have PlayStation VR. When are you gonna make like a Sword Art Online style RPG like that? I'm just waiting for that. A deep dive, true VR, not this like peripheral bullshit. Make a real VR RPG. Like I'm waiting for that. That's the future.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you guys think?
No, I think that that's fair. I think like you know, I feel like a lot. I feel like also the reason why a lot of people have kind of not turned to RPGs is because of that idea of like, you know, people aren't really as open minded. They're just like, oh, I just want to jump on things and I just want to shoot things, you know. And like they just kind of, you know, I guess it also influenced the culture in a little bit in that like some games that used to be RPGs are no longer RPGs, and people want to like, you know, they want to give it a new take, and I'm totally okay with that. I like that, and I mean, like you said, I would love to see like a Pokemon game like VR, but for something like that. Or
No, whoa! I never said Pokemon.
No,
game
I know. I'm just saying that would be
like
nice.
Zelda.
No, I'm just saying that would be
That'd be
nice.
cool.
Just like
That
how
would
we
be cool.
had AR with Pokemon Go or something like that.
Yeah, Pokemon Go is cool.
You know, I'd like that. That'd be cool. I just don't know, you know, where it's going. In my personal opinion, I'd love to think that like the future is bright for RPGs, and I feel like there's still a lot of mechanics that can, in general, gaming developers can influence, they can take advantage of and exploit and see where they can go with it.
In the future, I want to play an RPG where my wife is still with me with the kids.
Yeah.
Wrap up the podcast.
On that note, everybody, we have run out of time, even though this
I guess
is
I
a
should also
timeless.
mention, this is completely off topic, but with the whole AMC thing we were talking about earlier, I love that at first they were like, we're not going to require people to wear masks because we don't want to get wrapped up into political controversy, and everyone was like, you dumb motherfucker, wearing a mask is not a political controversy. It's literally the basic, like, minimum you can do to help not spread the virus. And then they backpedaled after everyone bullied them. So, goes to show, bully corporations, bully billionaires, bully politicians, and then things will actually change for the better.
We don't want to make a political statement. Becomes a political statement.
Everybody gangsta.
Them saying that gets them wrapped up into a political controversy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I
And
just
they're
wanted
like,
to
"Hey,
mention
guys,
that
masks."
because it's like electoral politics is bullshit. So always just
Bully
take
your
it-
corporation.
bully people, bully politicians, bully your governor, bully your mayor, bully corporations, and then things will actually get better.
Yeah, call them babies with tiny hands, and then they'll be okay. Anyways, everybody, we've run out of time on a timeless podcast.
Jesus, 3 hours.
We are at 3 hours now. Next week, we're going to come back. We're talking about Harry Potter, the PS5, Revelation of Crash 4, and the unfortunate circumstances of The Last of Us Part 2. Catch us next in 2 weeks. My name is Royal Dude Lorenzo. I am the Blue Squid here on the Inkling Brothers podcast, and I will catch you guys next time.
My name is Ray, also known as Meatloaf Man. I'm the Purple Squid here on the Inkling Bros podcast. See you guys for episode 30.
Yeah, 30. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's episode 30. We get woohoo. All right. Yeah.
Isaac.
My name is Isaac, Red Squid of the podcast, aka Simp Isaac.
And he misses his wife. And I'm Eric, and I also miss his wife. Wait, what?
What? You bitch?
Podcast.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you guys next week. Bye. Have a nice
Take care of
day.
yourselves.
Eric? I'll fucking kill you.